सबसे ज़्यादा ओवररेटेड कौन है? और आपने बड़े फटाक से बोल दिया निंजा जॉर्ड।
जब भी हम इन लोग को एलिमिनेट करते थे तो निंजा जोड़ हमेशा लास्ट में बचता था।
कवर कर रहा है यार, कर रहा है। एक अच्छी टीम का आईजीएल तुझे ओवररेटेड बोल रहा है।
मेरा स्टार्टिंग से ऐसा है कि मैं बहुत सारी चीजें, मेरे को बहुत सारे लोग बोलते आ रहे हैं, अब मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ? अगर मैं अकेला बच जाता हूँ, मैं ही क्लच कर देता हूँ, मेरी गलती थोड़ी ना है।
एवरीवन, कैसे आप सब? स्वागत है आप सभी का बीजीएमएस सीजन 3 शोडाउन में। मेरा नाम है क्रैट और मेरे साथ जुड़े हैं अगेन कुछ लाजवाब बेहतरीन पर्सनालिटीज। मैं तो जानता हूँ बट कैमरे में देख के दोनों एक बार छोटी सी गुफ्तगू कर लो, इंट्रोडक्शन दे दो।
Hey guys, I am Venom from Godslain Esports and I am the IGL and entry fragger of my team.
सो है गाइस, आई एम निंजा जॉर्ड और मैं टीम एक्सपार्क से खेलता हूँ और मेरा रोल असॉल्टर है।
अचानक से एंट्री फ्रैगर ऐड हो गया वेनम में। कौन सा आईजीएल एंट्री फ्रैगर है क्या हमारे देश में? आईजीएल एंट्री फ्रैगर भी बनते
कुछ करते हैं, कुछ IGL करते हैं, जो अलग करते हैं वो
Venom
ऊपर
जैसे
आते हैं।
कुछ अलग करते हैं। और आप तो स्टार फ्रैगर हो। मतलब भाई, मतलब कैसा लग रहा है अभी? बिकॉज यू नो ऑफिशियल चैंपियन, द बेस्ट टीम और हाईलाइटेड प्लेयर निंजा, कैसा रहा पिछला 1-2 महीना? पूरा नो ग्राइंड से बाहर होना, फिर ओपन क्वालिफायर से आना, इतनी बड़ी जर्नी कैसी रही?
टफ तो बहुत रही है क्योंकि हम जैसे कि डिस्क्वालीफाई हो गए थे, फिर हमने ट्रस्ट रखा टीममेट्स पे। मेन होता है ट्रस्ट रखना। बहुत सारे प्लेयर्स होते थे उस टाइम डिमोटिवेट हो जाते हैं, बट हम हुए नहीं। हमको पता था कि हम कर लेंगे क्योंकि हम बहुत स्टार्टिंग से मेहनत करते हुए आए हैं। और फिर बहुत सारे लोगों ने बहुत कुछ बोला एंड बहुत सारी चीज़ें हमने एक तरफ साइड रखे। हमको पता था कि हम कर लेंगे बस।
यू नो, हम सब लाइव स्ट्रीम देख रहे थे और हमारे जो रिस्पेक्टेड पीयूष बटला साहब है एगेस पेरो, उन्होंने आपसे कुछ पूछा कि भाई साहब वेनम, आपकी नज़र में सबसे ज़्यादा ओवररेटेड कौन है? और आपने बड़े फटाक से बोल दिया निंजा जॉर्ड। मतलब मैं जानना चाहूँगा, आपके रिएक्शन तो बाद में लेंगे, पहले आपने इंस्टेंटली सोचा भी नहीं था निंजा का नाम क्यों लिया?
नहीं, मैंने उस हिसाब से लिया था जैसे मैं कई बार यसनाय में हमारी फाइट्स होती थी, तो जैसे टीम टू टीम फाइट होती है, 4v4 होती है हमारी। जब भी हम इन लोग को एलिमिनेट करते थे तो 3 प्लेयर इनके जो एलिमिनेट होते थे पहले वो अलग ही होते थे। निंजा जोड़ हमेशा लास्ट में बचता था, तो मेरे को उस हिसाब से मतलब टीम गेम में थोड़ा वो नहीं लगा था।
टीम में आपको लगता है कि निंजा सोलो प्लेयर है?
नहीं, अभी BGMS की ट्रॉफी उठा ली है टीम गेम खेल के, तो अच्छा है, बढ़िया है।
कवर कर रहा है यार, कर रहा है। निंजा व्हाट्स योर टेक? एंड आई वांट द ऑनेस्ट निंजा। देख, वो शुगर कोट वाला निंजा नहीं, बिकॉज़ दिस इज फनी बैंटर, मजा आने वाला है। बता तुझे कैसा लगा जब ये बोला? बिकॉज़ यार अच्छे खासे लोग देख रहे हैं, 1-2 लाख लोग देख रहे हैं, उसमें एक अच्छी टीम का आईजीएल तुझे ओवररेटेड बोल रहा है। उस टाइम पे धक्का लगा, क्या हुआ?
मेरा स्टार्टिंग से ऐसा है कि मैं बहुत सारी चीज़ें, मेरे को बहुत सारे लोग बोलते आ रहे हैं और मैंने एक टाइम पे ऐसा सोचा था कि अगर मैं इस टाइम ये सब चीज़ें सोच के अपने आप को वो मान लूँगा तो मैं कभी भी वो प्लेयर बन नहीं पाऊँगा। और मेरे को पता है अगर मैं थोड़ा बहुत लाइक ये सब चीज़ें सोच के डिमोटिवेट होऊंगा या कुछ भी रिएक्ट करूँगा तो वो सबसे मेन चीज़ है मेरी टीम पे लाइक बीट ही होगा, क्योंकि अभी 4 मैन टीम होती है। अकेला अगर मैं थोड़ा बहुत डिमोटिवेट हुआ तो हम तो कर नहीं पाएंगे। वो सब हटा और बाकी रही अब मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ? अगर मैं अकेला बच जाता हूँ, मैं ही क्लच कर देता हूँ, मेरी गलती थोड़ी ना है।
जब निंजा बच जाता है, निंजा पे डर भी लगता है, तो ओवररेटेड बोलकर
सोलो बचा है ना लास्ट में तो मार देगा भाई।
मतलब
मार
ऐसा तो नहीं ट्रिगर करने की कोशिश थी?
नहीं, ऐसा
जैसे कि यसनाया खाली हो जाए?
नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है। अब क्या है, आई तो ट्रॉफी यसनाया में ही है, चाहे इन्होंने ली है हमने।
ओह, ये मतलब आई ट्रॉफी घर पे आई होती, नया निकाला है यसनाया
नया में आई है ट्रॉफी।
अब एक कॉन्स्पिरेसी थ्योरी है यहाँ पे कि जैसे आपको पता है कि ओपनिंग वीक के अंदर वोटिंग सिस्टम भी है जो बॉटम 6 टीम में। यू गाइस कांट अफोर्ड टू गो देयर बॉटम 6 में।
इस चीज की तो हमने प्लानिंग करी है कि
ये लोग तो जा सकते हैं,
ये जा सकते हैं, प्लस ये एग्रेसिव भी खेलते हैं और अब इस चीज के बाद तो ये पागल ही होने वाले हैं बिल्कुल, मारते
मतलब
तो
इनको
सोचना पड़ेगा उसके लिए।
कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, ये यशनाया में लिटरली खुले में घूमेंगे। बिकॉज़ लेट्स से कि ये टीम बॉटम 6 में आती है, इतना तो इनका फैंडम है।
हाँ, ये वापस आ
कि ये आ जाएंगे वापस, ये तो खेलेंगे। बट इफ यू गाइस लूज योर स्पॉट, हाई चांसेस है कि मुश्किल हो सकता है। तो अब यशनाया कंटिन्यू होगा या अब टाइम हो गया टाटा बाय बाय?
देखते हैं, वक्त की बात है। अभी मतलब ऐसा प्लानिंग कोई प्रॉपर हुई नहीं है, लेकिन देखते हैं। मतलब अपनी स्ट्रेटेजी हम अपना दिमाग लगाएंगे, जिससे हम यहाँ पर आए हैं, तो वही दिमाग लगा के आगे भी कंटिन्यू करेंगे।
अभी मुझे ना एक थोड़ा ऑड सा लगा, तो मैंने शैडो से पूछा कि निंजा इज अ लाइमलाइट प्लेयर, तो स्प्रे गॉड और सारंग को थोड़ा अनकंफर्टेबल ऐसे ना था कि यार सारा लाइमलाइट निंजा को ही मिलता है। तो शैडो पता क्या कहता निंजा पहला इंसान नहीं है जो फाइट में घुसता है, पहले स्प्रे गॉड घुसता है, फिर सारंग घुसता है और फिर निंजा आ जाता है। तो फिर निंजा की कैसे ज़्यादा स्टैट्स है? वो बाकी लोग डैमेज देते तो जब मलाई खाने जाता है।
नहीं, ऐसा रहता है कि मेरे को कॉन्फिडेंट रहता है कि अगर स्प्रे या सारंग जा रही है, क्योंकि उनके रोल वैसा ही है कि लाइक स्प्रे हमेशा आगे घुसता है, उसको खुला सांड बोलते हैं सीधा, तो वो आगे घुसता है, तो उसके बाद सारंग रहता है ट्रेड के लिए और फिर मैं थर्ड में घुसता हूँ। और तो वैसा है कि वो दोनों जाते हैं तो फिर मैं थर्ड पे आता हूँ। अब कभी कभार क्या होता है ना कि मोस्ट ऑफ द फाइट में ऐसा होता है कि मेरे पे अच्छा एंगल होता है, तब मैं सोचता हूँ कि क्यों किसी को बुलाऊं मेरे एंगल पे, फिर मैं जाऊँ उधर फाइट लेने, तब तक तो फाइट ही डिले हो जाएगा, तो वैसा फॉर्मेशन हो जाता है फिर।
तो आपकी टीम के अंदर भी कुछ ऐसा कि कोई फॉर्मेशन है कि पहले आल्टो जा रहा है, फ्यूरी जा रहा है, या क्या हो रहा है?
नहीं, जो आगे होता है वही घुस जाता है, वही घुस के मार देता है।
मतलब ये सिचुएशन वाइज डिवाइड हो रखा है कि लेट्स से कि आप एक पोजीशन पे हो, वहां पे स्लैम इन आ गया, सो यू हैड टू टेक दैट डिसीजन। आप वेट नहीं करोगे या आप क्या करोगे? आपका आइडल सिचुएशन क्या है? लेट्स से आप एक बिल्डिंग में हो और टीएक्स आ गई, चारों प्लेयर स्लैम इन, तो आप वेट करोगे या अपनी गट फीलिंग पे जाओगे?
जो सिचुएशन के हिसाब से इनको एलिमिनेट करने के लिए गुड होगा, बढ़िया चीज़ होगी, वही करेंगे। वेट कर सकते हैं और टीम को बुला सकते हैं।
इस लाइनअप के अंदर अभी ना बहुत सारे सीक्रेट्स हैं, मुझे ऐसा लगता है मिस्ट्री लाइनअप है आपका, आल्टो, फ्यूरी और ये। आपके हिसाब से आपकी टीम का सबसे डिपेंडेबल इंसान कौन है? अगर वो जिंदा है, आपकी सांसें जिंदा है टीम में?
अगर फ्यूरी जिंदा है तो मेरे को यकीन हो जाता है। अगर उसके सामने 4 भी बंदे हैं, मेरे को लगता है कि मार देगा, वो मार देता है ज़्यादातर टाइम, तो उस पर ही ज़्यादा मेरे को है।
अब एक और बहुत बड़ा कॉमन क्वेश्चन रहता है कि ये कुछ फिल्टर का रोल होता है और आइजल, ये दोनों भिड़ते हैं आपस में। आइजल ने कॉल दी, फिल्टर ने कॉल दी, कौन सी कॉल रन करेगी, कौन सी आगे जाएगी, होता है ना कि उसने बोला कि हाँ चलते हैं, उसने बोला वहाँ पे प्लेयर दिखे हैं, तो क्या करते हो उस टाइम पे? मतलब कब बहस होती है बीच गेम में फैंटम और आपकी?
जब स्टार्टिंग में तो मेरी बहुत बहस होती थी फैंटम से कि अरे भाई, कॉल जो होती है आपस में भिड़ जाती थी पूरी, और समझ नहीं आता था कि मैं इसकी कॉल सुन के कुछ कर देता था, मर जाते थे, तो गलत लगता था। अभी मतलब धीरे धीरे एक्सपीरियंस होके वो सब चीज़ होगा, तो अभी तो भिड़ती नहीं है। वो अपना मेरे को बताता है कि हाँ भाई ऐसा कर सकते हैं, मैं उस हिसाब से डिसीजन ले लेता हूँ जो मुझे सही लगता है।
अब नॉर्मल बैक?
हाँ, अब नॉर्मल है।
आपकी टीम ऐसा होता है कि शैडो की कॉल कोई कट करता है या फिल्टर करके थोड़ा सा चीज़ें बदल सकता है?
नहीं, ऐसा होता है कि अगर हम उसे कुछ कॉल्स देते हैं तो वो उस पर रहता है कि वो एग्री कर रहा है कि नहीं। अगर उसको लगता है, दिखता है कि हाँ ये सही है, तो वो करवाता है। हमारा ऐसा रहता है कि मोस्टली अगर वो चीज़ हम वर्क भी नहीं कर पा रहे, कैसे किसी भी प्लेयर ने कॉल दे दी, तो हम ट्राई करते कि चारों एक साथ घुस के जाए, मार ही देंगे, ऐसा हो के जाते फिर हम। तो शैडो मना नहीं करता मोस्टली इतने सारी चीज़ों पे, क्योंकि उसको पता होता है कि कर लेंगे हम।
क्वाइट वैलिड। आप क्या उस स्टेटमेंट को वापस लेकर एक दोस्ती का हाथ बढ़ाना चाहोगे?
नहीं, मतलब ऐसा क्या, लड़ाई वगैरह तो थी
मतलब ऐसे यार,
हाँ,
मतलब
दोस्त तो है ही।
तो फिर ऑफेंड हो गया यार। एक दोस्ती का हाथ तो बढ़ा, क्यूट सा लड़का दिख सामने वाला,
हाँ, क्यों नहीं भाई,
है ना? तो हो जाए।
और निंजा भाई,
मतलब मैं आज सुबह से मैच मेकर का काम कर रहा हूँ यहाँ पर, इससे पहले जो भी हुआ, और यहाँ पर निंजा और वेनम, गुड लक बॉयज। ये थे हमारे साहु भाई साहब, एक निंजा जॉर्ज एंड वेनम फ्रॉम द गॉड्स रेन। दोनों प्लेयर्स रेडी अपनी टीम को विक्ट्री ले जाने के लिए। अब देखने की कौन जीतेगा, बट उसके लिए ब्रॉडकास्ट होगा लाइव, सारा एक्शन उस पे मिलेगा। और अभी के लिए मैं लेता हूं अलविदा, टेक केयर।
The end is near, and now it's the desperate times. And as you've heard, desperate time requires desperate measure, and the teams, they need to do so as soon as possible. Welcome to Android BGMS Season 3, powered by Garnier's Men, where I'm going to be your host and Castro Negro. John alongside with me on the panel, it's going to be Scaredy yet once again. And as we saw what happened yesterday, OG, they picked off a beautiful chicken dinner. Godlike, they had quite a magnificent day, so you can't say things are looking decent for these guys.
I mean, I really like whenever the top 4 gets spicy, specifically with the teams who were on the latter half of that board, finally getting their pacing and finally trying to breach into that top 4. So yes, I'm pretty excited to see as to how things are going to roll out. But as you mentioned, Godlike doing an amazing job, Orangutan doing an insane work yesterday, but there are a few teams, even Team Z, that actually got quite a good amount of points in Game 1.
And as you mentioned, the cushion is slowly and steadily closing on up too.
Yes.
And Global Esports yesterday, they got their first chicken dinner, right? Speaking of the top 4, Global Esports is doing really good.
Yes.
And now they know exactly how to play passive, they know exactly how to play defensive and aggressive too. And Global Esports is bringing that perfect variation. They know exactly when to push on. And the best part about Global Esports is that every single player is so skilled that they know they will come out on top in any duel.
That's the whole strong point about that team, is that they're super confident.
Yeah.
And in the way how the format is forcing you to play, you need to be confident. You need to be ready to take those early fights and early engagements. And that's one of the reasons why we're seeing Global Esports on top of the charts. If only Carnival Gaming did the same thing, I guess Neo would have been the top fragger.
Yeah, I mean, CG, fine, but OG, you cannot overshadow them too.
Yes.
They've also been looking really confident recently, right? Led by Aru, you've also got a man, AKOP, and Veron. These two guys are putting up some insane numbers on the board. And yesterday in the final few situation, you saw Veron and AKOP, the last two remaining players, and the way they played that so clinically, it was just mesmerizing. So OG, they've got all the factors, they've got all the pillars. All they need to do now is just breach in that top four, which will be a little bit difficult, but we know these boys are here for vengeance. They do not want to end things on the second note this time.
Exactly, because their decision making is also looking a lot better, and they're looking so very confident and also cool, calm, and collected in the game itself. As you mentioned, for the last game, I still remember that the first engagement for them was with the team of Mogo, where even though Aru fell down, he made sure that he was able to knock down a couple of players, and their team supported him pretty well as well.
I mean, just look at the players. You've got so many good players in the lineup, right? Aru, Adanki, Veron, Vizjot, and AKOP. It's really tough to switch one player out, but OG, they're definitely bringing in that variation. But they need to make sure that they're not going to bring in this variation if they do move into the grand finals directly. But in the playoffs, they definitely can't switch things around accordingly. But for now, the main playing lineup has definitely been AKOP, Vizjot, Veron, and Aru. These guys have been able to bring in some nice results on the board. Nothing taken away from Atanki too. But still, Veron, Vizjot, AKOP, they just bring in that firepower that's desperately needed. I mean, right now, Veron's not doing too hot, but we know what this man is capable of.
Absolutely true. They have been playing phenomenally, and I still remember quite a few engagements. This was the game where AKOP got 9 finishes in his hands, and everyone basically confirmed that this man is playing out of his mind. And then there was so many engagements, so many situations where you know you can rely on AK for all of those frags and all of those finishes. And you were mentioning about Atanki. This was the opener against the side of Reckoning, and they destroyed the trap.
Atanki is one of those patient fraggers. He knows exactly when to pounce on the opportunity. He does not have that boiling blood at all, but he's got some nice, clean mechanics, and that's what Atanki relies on. He's got a beautiful hand, too, when it comes to utilities. He tosses them on to perfection, and he knows exactly how to read the opponents. He's been facing off against these same guys over the past year, so it makes a lot of sense.
That's the whole part about it. And the iconic celebration seems like AKOP has now been feeling himself to be that Arjun in this entire Mahabharat we are seeing right now. But yes, if this team needs to perform, AK constantly needs to be the one who's getting those frags, who's winning out those opening duels as well. And Vizjot, as you mentioned, he's also one of the man who basically is one of those first players who will take those engagements. So it's like super crucial for all of them to make sure that they're the ones who are finding openings.
And I guess this time you're seeing AKOP, Vizjot, Atanki play, and Veron's going to be the man to take the back seat. Veron hasn't played a lot of games in the league stage in general because he's sort of been that shuffle card, but we know Veron, if he does get the right time, if he does get the right wind underneath his sails, we know he can pop off in really good fashion. And speaking of a team on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, right? A team that likes to play defensive and tactical, Revenant Esports. This team is not focused on the firepower. Instead, it's focused on the brilliance.
Exactly. You mentioned about that tacticality, and Sensei is the man who we always talk about, that if Revenant is in the final few circles, you will see Revenant in so good positions that everything becomes like super easy for them. There have been multiple scenarios, multiple situations where the decision making is just perfect. I still remember that game of Miramar where, if I'm not wrong, Entity was the one who was actually fragging all the people left, right, and center, and then Revenant found the perfect timing to go in for a third party and finish them off.
Exactly. But you know what? For now, let's take a look at a short video, and let's see what the boys have got to say.
जो मेरी टीम थी, जिसे सब जानते हैं ड्रीम टीम के नाम से, वो ऑफिशियल के फाइनल तक नहीं पहुंच पाई, ये सच है। और मैं एक ही चीज़ बोलूँगा, देखो सपने हर कोई देखता है, हर किसी के पूरे नहीं होते, और मेरे तो टूट गए। बस मैं तो यही बोलूँगा कि कोशिश जो भी था सब कुछ बढ़िया था, ऑन पेपर बहुत बढ़िया था। आज भी मैं बोलूँगा कि ऑन पेपर सबसे बेस्ट टीम है। अगर आप पास्ट के अचीवमेंट्स देखो, इंडिविजुअल प्लेयर के स्किल्स देखो, बेस्ट टीम है। लेकिन आप वही समझ रहे हो, आप मतलब 4 हीरे आप एक साथ नहीं रख सकते। आपको अलग अलग करके डिवाइड करने पड़ेंगे, और वही हमारे साथ हुआ। मुझे लगता है कि जो हुआ अच्छे के लिए हुआ, मैं वही बोलूँगा। थोड़ा डिप्लोमेटिक होऊंगा, क्योंकि जो भी हैं एट द एंड सारे प्लेयर्स मेरे दिल के करीब है। लेकिन जो भी हो, फ्यूचर के लिए उन्हें ऑल द बेस्ट बोलूँगा, और ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं बोलना चाहूँगा इस पर।
I mean, Sensei, speaking about the past lineup, things did not work out in the official tournament. They got kicked off the tournament quite early, and that's why maybe some issues going on internally, and he clearly mentioned he cannot have 4-star players in one single lineup. There will be issues, there will be those ego conflicts, and that's something that needs to be avoided. And right now, Sensei's team consists of Seth, Blaze, him, himself, and as I mentioned, this team is supposed to be the epitome. This team is supposed to provide that tactical brilliance, and that's what they're doing. Add on Flag, Flock, the young assaulter, and even he's been doing really nice.
And the tacticality is just perfect. Look at all those frags that are basically spread across all the players, right? You've got AKOP and Orangutan, who's the one on 38, but then there's Flock on 29, Sensei on 21, Seth on 24, and even Blaze is not that far behind, considering the fact that he's playing more of a supporter role right now in this lineup. So it's absolutely understandable, and this team is playing as a unit.
Yeah, I mean, Revenue Esports, they aren't here for a sprint. They're here to play the longer game.
Yes.
They're going to take their time to adjust in the playing field. They know what they're capable of. They know they like to take it slow. At first, let the opponent burn through everything, and then later on, rely on your tactical brilliance to conquer the battlefield. And that's been the main play style for Revenue Esports.
Yes.
They know exactly how to play in the final few zones too. They like to go for that spread out approach. They like to go for a more tactical approach, and they like to take the map control as much as possible.
Exactly, and considering all those factors, whenever they're combined and if last few circles fall into the hands of Revenant, this team always finds success, and that's one of the main reason why, because of their perfect tacticality, this team is the only one who have secured 3 chicken dinners, if I'm not wrong. Yesterday, even Suren was talking about the exact same thing, that Revenant is a team that has got one of the maximum chicken dinners right now in the lobby, and this team is slowly trying to breach into that top 4 as well, and if they continue this performance, I'm pretty sure they'd be able to do so.
And as I mentioned, they aren't in a rush. They're here to play the longer game,
Yes.
but they do not have a lot of days left. At the start of the show, I mentioned this too. The end is near. Grand finals are getting closer and closer as the days keep on passing on. Some of the teams want to take a direct leap in the grand finals, while some want to take the longer route through the playoffs. But all that's going to hope is that the future's going to be a little bit better and nicer for these teams. And now, speaking of Godlike too, right? That's another one of those teams. The start was quite harsh, but now slowly and steadily, they're starting to rack up that pace. They're looking quite nice, and we know if this same pace keeps going on, it will be quite nice. But the major issue for Godlike has been the consistency, because one day they performed really nice, the other day, the performance is completely lost.
नो डाउट एडमिनो भी बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छा खेल रहा है और मेरे को पता है वो फ्यूचर में भी अच्छा ही करेगा, लेकिन हाँ एक बात है कि ये टीम गेम है और अगर एक भी प्लेयर हमारा ख़राब खेलता है तो पूरी की पूरी टीम ख़राब खेलती है, और अगर एक भी प्लेयर आउट परफॉर्म कर जाता है तो पूरी पूरी टीम उसके अराउंड अच्छा खेलती है। सो वो ऐसा ही रहता है कि अगर एडमिनो को अच्छा सपोर्ट नहीं मिलेगा तो एडमिनो भी वैसा नहीं खेल पाएगा। वैसे ही जॉनी के साथ भी, जॉनी को भी अगर अच्छा सपोर्ट नहीं मिलेगा तो कोई भी प्लेयर, मतलब अगर उसके पीछे एक बैकबोन रहती है, हर एक प्लेयर अगर टॉप पे जा रहा है तो उसके पीछे एक बैकबोन रहती है जो उसको सपोर्ट कर रही रहती है, तो वो तुम्हारी टीम रहती है। अगर तुम्हारी टीम तुम्हारे साथ अच्छे से चलेगी तो फिर वो एक प्लेयर स्टार फ्रैगर बन सकता है। और हाँ, रही बात जॉनी की, तो अगर सब लोग डाउन है टीम में तो आप जॉनी ऐसा बंदा है जिसके ऊपर आप कभी भी ट्रस्ट लेके चल सकते हो कि जॉनी है वो निकाल लेगा, जैसी मर्जी सिचुएशन हो उसके ऊपर आप ट्रस्ट रख सकते हो। सो यही है कि मेरे को यही लगता है कि अगर हमारी टीम गेम स्ट्रॉन्ग है तो सारे के सारे प्लेयर्स आउट परफॉर्म कर ही सकते हैं।
I mean, Jelly pretty much saying the same stuff, right? If your team game's going to be strong, you will be performing on the board whatsoever. But this has been the major issue for Godlike, at least when Jelly was IGLing. Jelly was making the players play way too passive, and it just felt like he did not realize the main firepower, the main motto of this team, and that was supposed to be aggression. That was supposed to be taking those firefights. And the passive approach was something that was really keeping the potential hidden from Godlike. But now as Punkus came in the race, he's slowly taking the team on the aggressive note too. You've got Z-God, Punk, Admiro, and Jonathan as the main playing 4 these days, and they've been doing quite nice. They do stand a chance to breach in that top 4, but today's day is going to be essential.
Yes, they need to keep those consistency up as well, and considering the fact that Godlike is only going to play 1 game today, so you know that grabbing those 25-30 points is the main task and their main ideology. And since you mentioned about the fact, and what Jelly was also talking about, that yes, Jonathan is one of the person that you can definitely rely on, but at the same time, the team needs to play together. Team needs to play in as a unit. But I still would feel in certain situations that Punk, yes, he's the man who's IGLing, at the same time he's also fragging, and we're seeing a lot of fragging IGLs. I want to see things being stepped up from Admin too, because he is being one of those supportive players wherein his potential definitely can equate him to Jonathan.
Hey, in my opinion, even Godlike can go for the high-risk, high-reward play, right? Try and hunt down the bounty team off the rip in the power play. That's going to grant you 18 points at the start. In my opinion, 18 points in one single game, that's a really good grab. And Godlike can definitely afford that. And considering we know how IQ Soul as well has been moving slowly and steadily on the board, that's another one of those teams that we need to focus on and talk about. But you know what? Maybe after a short break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in a jiffy.
Wow. Circle to search. Only on Android.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Another day, another road, and we go. Arrive with a win, moving up, we know where to begin. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. On the ride we go. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Another day, another road, and we go.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. 2x brightening power. With charcoal and vitamin C, deeply cleanses dirt and pollution to fight dullness for instantly bright skin. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. By Garnier Men.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings. Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash with charcoal and vitamin C. Deeply cleanses dirt and pollution for instantly bright skin. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash by Garnier Men.
What's up, everyone? Come on in.
I got 100 ways that I could make you look. You cannot read me, I ain't no page in a book. But there's 100 ways that I could make you look.
Wow.
Make you make you look.
Wow.
Look, make you look.
Yesterday's day was all about comebacks, or maybe you can say final chance for the bottom 6 to make that bounce in the top 4. And yesterday, one thing is for sure, we did see some comebacks, but not exactly from the bottom 6. OG, they strike pretty hard, right next to Godlike, because even they had a fantastic day. But at the start, action kicked off in quite a weird fashion. Carpadium, they faced off against 8-Bit, where 8-Bit, even though having the disadvantage, they still came out on top in that duel.
And that was not the only surprise waiting for us. There was one on the Ferry Pier Bridge for Mogo itself, where Soul were perfectly weighted for the men, and Aiku Soul winning out against Mogo with that perfect camp was a big blow to Mogo's confidence.
Team Z later on carried on the torch forward and claimed quite a nice game. That was also supposed to be the bounty against Reckoning Esports, but then the action continued. Aiku Soul, they were thirsty for points as they bounced on top of the players of CG, but Neo flipped the table against the players of Aiku Soul and 1v4'd them in the end.
Eventually, Manya was the only one who had to run away, only to be caught by Neo, as you said, with that 1v4, but it was Global Esports who claimed the picks on Entity and finished off with a chicken dinner.
The final blow was quite nice, but then the start to the game of Miramar was quite fiery once again. Mogo Esports started things off on a note where they could have started in a really good fashion, but then later on, a bit of a choke coming in from Destro just put the players of Mogo Esports in a big disadvantage as they took the fight against OG. OG did lose out on their IGL, but the remaining 3 player, they carried on the torch in a really good fashion.
Indeed, and then it was the third party coming in from Carnival Gaming against the members of Global Esports when they took the fight against Raven. Unfortunately for Carnival, they could not claim the bounty, but another team that performed exceptionally well was Godlike.
Godlike in Miramar was definitely feeling themselves, but then later on, even they were struck down by the OG squad, the Apes themselves. In the final few moments, AKOP was able to find the first knocker, and then later on, they also secured the finishing blow.
देखिए डोमिनेशन वीक के बीचों बीच हैं एंड हम जानते हैं कि इस फेज के बाद 4 टीमें जो हैं वो फाइनल में पहुंचेंगी एंड बाकी की टीम्स जो हैं वो प्लेऑफ्स में एक दूसरे से मुठभेड़ करेंगी. हम यहाँ बैल्कनी व्यू में बैठे हुए हैं डिफेंडिंग चैंपियंस के ठीक पीछे डेस्ट्रो और रॉबिन. आज फिर हमें दोनों साथ देखने वाले. हे ब्रो व्हाट्स अप रॉबिन सा. अब आज जो मेरे साथ मेरा दोस्त बैठा हुआ है भाई, इसका नाम आप सब जानते हैं, लेकिन इसके असली नाम की एक बहुत कमाल की कहानी है जो मैं इसी से पूछने वाला हूँ. जरा बताओ दुनिया को, व्हाट इज योर रियल नेम?
वेल अमृत गौरव है.
नहीं दोनों फर्स्ट नेम्स है ब्रो, सरनेम क्या है?
वो नहीं दिया.
ये क्या कहानी है?
आई थिंक जायदाद पे बात चली जाएगी, बट मेरे भाई जो बड़े भाई है 5 साल बड़े हैं मुझसे, मासूमियत समझू या नादानी, सागर सौरभ है नाम, तो मेरा नाम अमृत गौरव रख दिया एंड आई हैव टू लिव विद इट.
इट्स वेरी मच लाइक कार्तिक आर्यन. लेकिन लेट्स टॉक अबाउट
अपने पास भी तो है सुरेन भाई, सस्ता कार्तिक आर्यन.
विल कम टू दैट लेटर. हम किसकी बात कर रहे हैं ये अभी ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. इंपॉर्टेंट क्या है कि ये 20 टीमें और पूरा डोमिनेशन वीक, ये जो आदमी बैठा हुआ है इसी से मेरी बात हुई थी एंड ही सेड वी आर लुकिंग एट ऑल दीज परम्यूटेशंस एंड कॉम्बिनेशंस. हम अपने गेम प्ले में वो सारे रिंकल्स जो उसको आयन आउट करना चाहते हैं. सो fixes, your fixes the problems. You tell me, do you feel सारी टीम्स अपना 100% दे रही हैं?
देखिए इस समय तो नहीं, बट डेस्ट्रो हमेशा कहता है कि हम चीज़ें सॉर्ट कर रहे हैं, ये कर रहे हैं, फाइनल्स में आके फिर बोलबाला चलता है. बट अभी तो इसका थोड़ा टाइम ख़राब चल रहा है, बट होपिंग सो प्लेऑफ्स में अच्छा करे. बट टू आंसर योर क्वेश्चन, आई डोंट थिंक सभी अपना 100% दे रही है, क्योंकि सबको ये लगता है कि प्लेऑफ्स में जाएंगे फिर अपना हाथ जो गर्म रहेगा, प्रॉपर ट्राई हार्डिंग चलेगी लॉबी के अंदर, उसके बाद फाइनल्स के अंदर पूरा दिखा देंगे
भाई. उतर जाते हैं. एंड्रॉयड ये रहा, ये बहुत ज़रूरी है. एंड्रॉयड BGMS सीजन 3 पावर्ड बाय गार्नियर मेन में आज हम लोग एक्साइटेड हैं क्योंकि कल से स्टार्ट होने वाला है वो इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर वाला रूल. और हम जानते हैं कि वहाँ पे क्या बोलबाला हुआ था जब पिछली बार हमने वो रूल देखा था. जस्ट आस्किंग, जो टॉप 4 टीम्स हैं, डू यू थिंक दे विल बी इन अ वेरी गुड पोजीशन टू मेक इट टू द फाइनल्स या अभी भी बहुत फाइट बाकी है?
सुरेन भाई अभी तो सैटरडे संडे भी बाकी है, इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर आएगा, फिर ज़्यादा डिफरेंस भी नहीं है. आई थिंक टॉप 8-10 टीम्स कुड ईजिली कंटेंट अगर चाहे तो टॉप 4 के लिए.
लेकिन 2 टीम्स हैं, एक 11वें पे है, एक 13वें पे है एंड एक्सिस से कौन मिलना चाहता है?
Yeah, I've done that. Been there, done that.
Could be toxic, but could be exciting. तो 2 टीममेट्स जो एक्सेस रह चुके हैं उनको बुलाते हैं. So of course Carnival Gaming से we've got S Power and Aiku Soul से we've got Ronnie, my man, the big boy is here. Okay, I think you should start with S Power क्योंकि मेरा पहला सवाल उसके लिए बहुत सिंपल है.
So S Power, हर टूर्नामेंट में विकेट पावर के लिस्ट पे, प्लेयर के लिस्ट पे आप टॉप पे रहते हो. इस बार आप लीस्ट विकेट प्लेयर के लिस्ट पे चल रहे हो. क्या चल रहा है, इतना डाउनफॉल कैसे आ गया आपके परफॉर्मेंस में?
इसको मैं डाउनफॉल नहीं बोलूँगा, मतलब मोस्ट विकेट प्लेयर्स का लोग एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे थे अभी, लेकिन लीस्ट में हूँ. और पहली बात आई गेस डोमिनेशन सर्वाइवल वीक है, प्लेऑफ बाकी है, फाइनल बाकी है. अभी थोड़ा उलट पुलट चल रहा है, क्योंकि अपनी टीम भी कुछ नया ट्राई कर रही है, मैं भी कुछ नया ट्राई कर रहा हूँ, और बीच में थोड़ा नई चीज़ें मैं ट्राई कर रहा था कंट्रोल वाइज। वर्क नहीं किया, ज़्यादा वर्क नहीं किया, बट 70-30 था। तो अभी प्ले ऑफ फाइनल्स में मोस्टली अच्छा
100 आ जाएगा।
मे बी 110 ट्राई करते हैं।
दोस्त जो हैं वो ओपोनेंट्स बन गए। तुम दोनों की जिस तरीके से मुलाकात हुई थी ना, वो शायद कैमरा ने कैप्चर नहीं किया है। देयर स्टिल अ लॉट ऑफ लव, बट डू यू मिस हिम एज अ टीममेट?
होता ही है, जो भी मतलब टीममेट रहता है तो भाई बन जाते हैं एक गेम में। लाइक इन गेम तो चलता रहता है मैच में, बट बाहर होता गेम तो भाइयों जैसा रहते हैं एक साथ।
फिलहाल जिस पोजीशन पे हो तुम पॉइंट्स टेबल पे, डू यू मिस हिम मोर?
नहीं नहीं, अभी तो हम तो नहीं मिस कर रहे।
ओके।
सो एस पावर, अगर परफॉर्मेंसेस को साइड में रखे, यू हैव प्लेड अंडर मेनी आईजीएल्स, बहुत बड़े बड़े आईजीएल्स के अंडर खेला है। हेक्टर सडनली इज कम इन और बहुत ही एक पेचीदे वे में आपका टीम बना है, तो हेक्टर को वहाँ पे आप कितना रेटिंग दोगे और कैसा लग रहा है उसके अंडर खेल के, एंड कोई एडवाइजेस कि हेक्टर एज एन आईजीएल भी इम्प्रूव कर सकता है?
अभी एकदम लैंड ट्रैवल के एक दिन पहले वो हेक्टर का आईजीएल का ऐसा सीन बना था, और उसके अकॉर्डिंगली तो बहुत एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी कर रहा है, रोटेशंस वगैरह वाइज, स्कोरिंग वाइज, बाकी गन पावर भी वो थोड़ा बहुत इंप्रूव करने की ट्राई कर रहा है। अच्छी है, ऐसा नहीं, और बाकी मेरी तरफ से कोई एडवाइस रहेगा नहीं, क्योंकि उसको सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन है क्या इंप्रूव करना क्या इंप्रूव नहीं करना चाहिए, और मेरे को तो लगता नहीं कुछ उसको इंप्रूव करने की ज़रूरत है, बाकी सब ठीक है। अभी
1 से 10 पे कितना नंबर?
9.5।
ऑलराइट
ब्रो, पिछले हफ्ते जब हम इम्पैक्ट प्लेयर का रूल लेके आए, यू वर ऑन गॉड मोड, यू वर एट द टॉप ऑफ द लिस्ट रॉनी, लेकिन अब फिर से कल स्टार्ट हो जाएगा ना। इवन विद योर परफॉर्मेंस, आइकू सोल अभी 13वीं पोजीशन पे, 13वीं या 11वीं पे ही हैं, 13वीं पोजीशन पे हो। एक होती है रेपुटेशन एंड एक होती है परफॉर्मेंस, एंड देयर सीम्स टू बी अ ह्यूज गैप बिटवीन दैट।
लाइक ये गैप थोड़ा बहुत हो रहा है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, आप हम पे भरोसा रखो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, करके दिखाएंगे। प्लेऑफ्स में कर लें, चाहे क्वालिफाई करें, ग्रैंड फाइनल्स में आपको परफॉर्मेंस दिख जाएगा। टेंशन मत लो, ऐसे डिमोटिवेट मत हो फैंस, चिल करो।
कितने प्यार से बोलता है और गेम में तबाही मचाता है। वेल, 2 former teammates, 2 exes going head to head today. Boys, back to you.
As I mentioned, maybe a final chance for these guys to make that pounce directly in the top 4. If today's day is not going to be nice, not just for CG, even for Aiku Soul, then you can definitely start to rule these guys out. And Aiku Soul slowly and steadily feels like they're not able to find that nice footing in the game anymore, man. They're losing out on that form, and I'm not sure what's going to fix that.
I think so. Maybe a collective performance by the entire team. That's the only thing that can fix it, since we are looking at the head-to-head for both the players, Ronnie and S-Power, who are on our screen right now. 15 finishes for S-Power, 23 for Ronnie.
Yeah.
And look at the power play finishes. Ronnie's got 11.
Unmatched, hands down. I mean, Ronnie's been performing miles better compared to S-Power. But then you cannot even blame S-Power, right? In his team, you've got Neo, who's completely out-fragging a lot of these guys. Then you've also got S-Power himself, who possesses a lot of that firepower. You've also got the IGL Hector. Even he's supposed to be quite a nice player. And then you've also got another man, Goblin himself. And even he's known as the MVP of the tournament. So, yeah, man, this lineup just consists of legends. So it's really tough to outrule any one of these guys.
That's the whole point about it. But honestly, in order for that team to make it into the top 4, we all know that all 4 players will have to outfrag like maniacs, like madmen. And with the way how Carnival Gaming have been switching things up, I think so they've decided not to use the weaponries, because in so many engagements early on, we do see them using just the machetes.
I mean, they have been facing off against their opponents off the rip, right? And both of these guys have been dropping in that same building, and that's why they do not even get a chance to get their hands on the weapon, so they just need to work with whatever they've got in their hands. And
Yes.
off the rip, you only get a melee in your hand, so that's why they just start cutting each other off. But as you move into the overall standings, Reckoning Esports at the top, Godsreen on the 2nd, Global Esports and Team Tumulus right there on 3rd and 4th, respectively. But for the top 4, it's their time to pin that spot down, because one single bad game and your position will be instantly capitalized.
Yes, that's true. But there's one good thing that I was also seeing on the second page itself right now. You can call me way too optimistic, but all the way till 17th position, that's Team Z, you've got 120 points. And if in case you've got 2 games today, and then you've also got the impact player rule, you're able to pull out a 30 point banger for yourself, you still have an opportunity to try and breach. That's again a big if, I know.
I don't think so. I genuinely think the bottom 6 teams are done for. They're done so. Maybe from 14th till the maybe from 14 till the 8th, they have a really good chance. But the bottom 6 teams, they're done. I don't think so they're going to be able to move into the grand finals directly. But the playoffs is going to be longer route. But who's going to be kicked out from the playoffs? And that's another question, right?
There are so many questions out there that need to be answered, right? Because even though there are so many teams that we hoped to see in the top 5, but that is just not the case. So I really want to see how things are going to move forward. But ladies and gentlemen, all the games are being played on Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. We'll be back after this short break.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Another day, another road, and we go. Arrive with a win, moving up, we know where to begin. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Arrive we go. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Another day, another road, and we go.
What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen?
Philips One Blade. Move fearlessly. Innovation and you. Philips. Red Bull gives you wings.
そんな場所だ全部壊してみっか俺は塔のてっぺんに登るんだਆਪਣਾ ਵੀ ਦੱਸ ਦੀ ਉਹ ਕੁੜੀ ਸੱਚੀ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਕਿੰਨੀ
Wow.
ਨਾ ਵੀ ਦੱਸ ਦੀ ਉਹ ਕੁੜੀ ਸੱਚੀ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਜਗਦੀ ਰਕਾਨ ਚੰਨ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਜਿੰਨੀ
Circle to search. Only on Android.
Time to test the waters. Tell me how you wanna leave. Now you hear me roll like raw in my beastly mode. Now wow. Wicked unleashed. That's wicked. All the cuts and the curves. So wicked. Take what you deserve. It's wicked.
TVS Raider. Unleash your wicked.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. 2x brightening power. With charcoal and vitamin C, deeply cleanses dirt and pollution to fight dullness for instantly bright skin. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. By Garnier Men.
Red Bull gives you wings.
TVS Raider is our mobility partner. It's not just all about looks. There's a Smart Connect version with the 99 connected features. And guess what? It apparently comes with a 5-inch TFT screen. Now, isn't that super wicked?
It indeed is, and a lot of teams need that super wicked buff right now because these 2 games might be their last opportunity to try and breach into that top 6, top 7. Because only after that will you stand a chance to enter in the top 4. As we already have a big cushion being formed now. God's Reign, Reckoning Esports. I don't think so any team would be able to steal their spot away unless it's 3rd and 4th position team. But even after that, you've got quite a few teams who are trying to steal away the 3rd and 4th spot themselves.
I mean, for X-Park, I still think so. They've already lost their shots.
Yep.
For teams that are currently at the bottom, WSB, I also think they have currently lost their shot as well. Maybe still a bit of a revival chance if they go for nuclear performances, more than 35 points per game, then maybe there's still a chance. But if that's not pullable, well, then you're pretty much done for, because today's going to be the last day to breach in that top 8 at least. Team Forever is one of those teams, came in with a lot of promises, but unfortunately let all of us down. Global Esports, a team that currently possesses the bounty, and yesterday they also got the first chicken dinner underneath their belts. Global Esports, they are definitely varying between their play styles. Sometimes they like to play super aggressive, sometimes they like to play passive.
And all the people who are asking when will they get their own chicken dinner, they finally were able to. But another team that we're looking forward is going to be Vasista, who were up on the screens a while ago. This team was in top 4 for one of the longest times and then have been dethroned and still are failing to find their footing. That's a big problem for them. And another big thing that we did see yesterday was Carpedium getting knocked out early on by the members of 8-Bit. So you probably think that they'd be dropping in Pochinki today.
Carpedium, Vasista Esports, they've always been an interesting suspect. Started the league stage off in such a dominating note, but now slowly and steadily they're losing the grip in the top 4. Vasista Esports, they're way too far away. Still looking to find something, but they're not able to find the momentum they once had. Shadow as an IGL is definitely slowly and steadily failing, but we know he can rise up when it matters the most. They can still go for the longer route all the way through the playoffs, but I'm pretty sure Shadow would want to deliver a finishing blow right here, right now. Vasista Esports, they do have a lot of potential. All it takes is one single game to be back at the top. And right now, Erangel boots up on the screen as the plane flap hat starts all the way from Primorx and ends towards the Povka.
Big plane fly path, as you mentioned. A lot of those teams who like to drop up north are going to have a big gliding time. Or maybe they would have to go in for their pit stops. Now, pit stop means collisions. So I'm pretty excited to see how many collisions we're going to witness today. Because again, Godlike is not playing in this lobby. Neither is WSB or OnePlate. So you know that Pochinki is going to be free for most of these teams, but Global Esports now, where are they going to take a drop is going to be a big question, because Severny is just out of reach.
I mean, the planned flat path from down south towards Lipovka, as you mentioned, Severny's going to be out of reach, so it's probably going to be a pit stop collision for 8-Bit. The planned flat path is right on top of their own location. Vasista Esports dropping in towards Quarry. You've also got Team Tumulas moving a little bit to the left side. And Team Tumulas this time, they do not want to go for a collision against 8-Bit, because they know there's also the Alpha Wolves in the lobby right now. It's Vasista Esports. And if Team Tumulas go for an early on fight against 8-Bit, there will definitely be a third party from Vasista Esports. And not just that, there's also CG in Primorx. So for Team Tumulas, they might just be in a world of hurt off the start.
I mean, I was having a conversation with the member of Carnival Gaming yesterday, and I did not realize that they would eventually take a drop in Primorsk itself to try and go in for that early fight against 8-Bit. And 8-Bit is a team that has been struggling so much in the past. It was only yesterday that they won their early opening engagement against Carpedium.
8-Bit, they usually drop somewhere around Primorx in those individual compounds, and fair appears their main goal.
True.
So yeah, for 8-Bit, that was not the target. But CG targeted Team Tumulas here.
Maybe, I guess so, yeah.
They were on their crosser. Vasista Esports is still around that phrase, so CG, they need to understand this. Mr. IGL was the man spread out. And for CG, unfortunately, they're not going to get anything in their hands just yet. They will be disappointed. They wanted to get some 4 points or 8 points off the start. But IQ Soul taking a lot of shots against that one single man. And yet they're not able to find a lot of the connections, but yeah, I mean, fine. At least they're able to scare that man away.
And that's Global Esports again, since we're talking about them. It's a team that you'd really not want to take that early engagement against, because if they decide to go in for that early fight, oh, you're in a big trouble. But yeah, circle forming pretty centric, not a lot to work around with. There's going to be Mogo, who would have to drop in towards the northern main island. But I think so it's absolutely fine. They normally avoid the Novo Bridge. They go in from the Ferry Pier Bridge. 8-Bit, if they want to, they can probably try and camp. But look at that big cluster forming down south of Yasnaya Polyana towards the prison area.
Oh, what a knock that was. Samraj knocked out with an AKM in that range. Now that's super impressive. And Samraj was also moving in with the vehicle. Now this is what you like to call a banger of a knock.
True.
For Entity, they know now they're in the territory of someone that's really alpha. And how are they going to deal with them? Manya is quite scratched up. Unfortunately, Entity, they lose out on Raiden 2 in return, and now Entity's looking really hurt. Fraiku Soul, the position isn't the best, but they're still dealing so much damage against Entity that they don't even stand a chance. And Iku Soul, this might just be a flawless squad wipe off the start. For Entity, this is really bad. They cannot keep on getting taken down like that, but they're still trying their best to fight back. There's still Aquanox and Samraj left alive, but Samraj is in the middle of nowhere, and he gets caught by Same. This is exactly what I'm talking about. The spread out fight from Iku Soul, it's working in their favor.
Exactly, and they'll also get the revival in no way for you to find any kind of angle. Aquanox has already lost a lot of bullets, a lot of members. There's 9 more remaining. Now it's empty. And the only way to survive now is going to be to just back off from this fight.
I don't think so. He's going to back out. He's the only player he knows he can't really secure a lot of eliminations anyway, so you might as well still try to go out and get something in your hands in this power play, and that's what Aquanox is trying to do. He's got his hands on the shotgun. Oh, he went for that switch, but he's not able to switch in time. And now the opponents know Aquanox, this man possesses a shotgun in his hands. They cannot push up close and personal just like that. He's got a few utilities too to work off with. But Iku's Soul, they're not going to go for that pounce just yet. Entity, they do not even possess a bounty to go for that finishing blow, but still Iku's Soul, those are 2 extra free points that you're missing out on. And Aquanox is now trying to reposition himself, trying to lose track of the players of Iku's Soul. He knows he's getting chased on. He gets inside of that house, and for now, Iku's Soul, this will be a bit of a tough challenge. Aquanox is going to hold down those glassy angles, which will be tough to peek for Iku's Soul. And these narrow angles can really give the advantage to Aquanox, because now it's time to isolate the duels, and that's what Aquanox will try to do. The first man is spotted, shots are taken, but nothing found just yet. As Aquanox repositions towards the staircase, and yeah, is not able to get a lot done.
Finally taken out, but again, there was Global Esports close by, so they jump in for the third party with a perfect nade. Finding the first one, Knock already down on board. So it's going to be in the hands of Nakul as he also gets down in low HP, burned alive, has to run away. Will move back as Arcelin tries to jump in, and Iku's Soul being removed from the lobby.
Global Esports here to get the revenge, because one of the men was bullied in midair at the start. Global Esports is like, yeah, well, you dare to take shots against us. We will now take you out from the entire game. Revan Esports forced to play aggressive this time, as even Sensei gets knocked out. It's quite a rough patch for Revenant. Sensei in a really rough spot too. For Team Z, this is the exact start they need, considering they've already secured one of the players. As now Sensei is slowly and steadily trying to creep his way towards the safety lines. For Team Z, they've lost out on 2 players in return inside of this fight, so it's a proper 2-on-2 fight now. Revan Esports with Flock left in the back. There's another man all the way in the back. But how is Revan Esports going to convert this fight? Kylo's pushing on up slowly and steadily. Flock with this nade can indeed be the game changer. But there's also Raven Esports from the back now, closing on up. And what a beautiful nade that was. Reaper hands out the finishing blow to Team Z.
A pick stolen, but you could also say that at the same time, a possible help coming in the form of Raven out there. But how are you going to survive there, Wrath, is going to be a big question, as Sensei is going to be brought back up on his feet. But that will give enough time to the members of Reaper to move forward. And for Team Z, this was an important game. They've already lost it, and with that, possibly the chance of breaching into that top 4 whatsoever. But hold on a second. Orangutan's AKOP. Orangutan are trying to third party the members of Raven.
I don't think so this is going to come through.
I mean, it is coming through.
OG, they're way too spread out. They're way too far away. Yes, they're around that fray, but do they really want to go for that third party?
I guess so.
Raven Esports, they're probably going to find an easy exit from this entire scenario, and that's what they're doing, considering they're moving in from the edge lines. But eventually, Raven Esports, they do make quite a dicey situation. And this is where Raven Esports, they just get stuck in the trap that they created themselves. Now, for OG, yes, they were in that city lines, but why did Hulk do that? Hulk said, yeah, I am a free point, claim me.
Before getting stuck, his vehicle struck 3 different objects out in that area. And then he was finally stopped. And as you said, I'm a free point, claim me. OG said gladly. But right now, few of the shots being fired yet again. Team Tamilas looking in for an early fight.
TF and TT facing off against each other. Omega with the shotgun in the head will be strike down as Ash's Wall wants to be part of the fight, and Ash is doing a lot of serious damage. He's already found 2 players against the opponents, and now if he's able to connect another one of the shots, maybe things can be in their favor, but it's completely fine. Team Tamilas, they have been eliminated from the game, and all thanks to that one single man, Ash.
Beautiful performance coming in from Ash. What a hold down. Yes, he missed out a few of the shots later on, but it's absolutely fine. That's it. Important, crucial points coming in the favor of Team Forever. And this might be a situation where we will see Team Tamilas drop out of that top 4. As a lot of those teams are grabbing those early points.
That's the bounty.
Exactly. That's also the bounty that has been claimed by the members of Team Forever.
18 points. Nicely done. Team Forever back in the race. Remember, as I mentioned, they need a banger of a performance, and this is something that's going to bring the revival in the overall storyboard. Global Esports, they do find a few scrap points here and there, but not something that's going to be critical enough in this game just yet. Global Esports, all they need to do is make sure that their spot's pinned down in the top 4, and that's what the main priority is going to be. Not to go too aggressive, but at the same time, show enough aggression to collect those points constantly.
8-bit. Claiming that 1 point on Hector. My question is, what was he doing there? But I guess we'll never know that answer to that. But there's another engagement that's happening over towards the Milta Bridge. Team X-Spark and Revenant. And I did see a couple of frags going in. So you know that it's Revenant yet again staying in that position, which I'm not a big fan of. And that's another team who are trying to stop them. Orangutan are also in the vicinity, so they can listen to that. And if they want, they can go in for a third party.
Vasista Esports is in the vicinity. CG facing off against 8-bit. It's something we all saw coming. I mean, 8-bit moving towards Primorx, and I don't think so 8-bit had any clue that CG's over here. CG's over here to take a fight against Team Tamilas. Probably. I'm not sure what the game plan is, or maybe 8-bit didn't know that there was someone in Primorx, so they just stepped in a complete uncharted territory, and now they're getting caught off guard, not just by Vasista Esports from the far fray, but also from CG right inside of the city. Vasista Esports is trying to steal a few scraps here and there, trying to grab the advantage of the power play, at least get a few points to start off the day in a good note, considering Vasista Esports, they've completely lost out of the momentum, and for Carnival Gaming, they do realize their eliminations are being stolen slowly and steadily. A beautiful Molotov. That's going to flush out the players from that comfort zone. 8-bit in a world of trouble. The players are taking too much damage. The nade finds the closure.
Perfect play coming in from the members of Carnival Gaming. And yes, Juicy was knocked out by Vixky, but the confirmation was flushed in by Neo himself. So they claim all the 4, if I'm not wrong. But they still have 6, I guess. All right. One of them went away, maybe. It probably did went in for Vasista. Yeah, it did. But I guess it's absolutely fine. Getting those 6 finishes, that too when stage 1 is still active, the power play is still active. They're going to be super happy about it, but how are they going to run away from this engagement when Vasista Esports are now up close and personal against them, and it's a 3v4?
I mean, for CG, they've lost out in the IGL, fine. They've still got a firing pack, though. Is that really going to be concerned against a team that's been struggling to find that momentum in the firefights too, and especially Vasista Esports? The only reason why they're over here is to claim as many points as possible in the power play. And the power play ends in a few seconds. That's it. The power play is ended now. They cannot take the advantage of the power play anymore. True. It will be just individual elimination point for an elimination that you find. And Apollo is trying to pre-fire around the corner. That nade is to flush out the man behind that area. He goes for that peek, but he's still missing out on the opportunity to catch him. Eventually, the nade explodes. You can't say a preemptive nade. That was nicely done. Vasista Esports, they swing back to the advantage. As S-Power is trapped in that building, he moves out. And I like this game plan from S-Power. He's slowly and steadily making sure that Vasista Esports will step in the trap that he's setting up, but at the same time, he doesn't realize that he himself is in a trap, and eventually it explodes.
Finally, S-Power as well taken down. If his first nade would have found a knock and then he would have followed up with this one, I guess things could have been pretty dicey for Vasista Esports, but some crucial points being claimed by their side. 4 finishes already in their hand. Nothing claimed from the power play apart from one pick or a steal, you could say, of 8-bit. But even after that, they kind of needed this for their own mental boost. They were not winning out those engagements, so pretty good one coming in. And with that, they'd be able to claim in all that loot and everything, move forward. But Team X-Park finally firing on a few shots onto the members of Revenant Esports who are just using that rage, the shoreline as their advantage.
My God.
Blaze! Oh, he missed out on a few shots. But that was a valiant effort.
And once again, Seth is out. This has been the storyline with the Revenant Esports for a while.
I was trying to ignore
But
that.
if you remember, CG mentioned the exact same thing. When CG was trying to play it safe, it was usually that one single individual player as the casualty in the team because all the other teams are so aggressive for the points.
True.
And that's what's been happening with Revenant Esports too. The recovery is nice from the boys, but is it really enough when you've got teams like X-Park on the hunt? And X-Park themselves knows it's a last chance, and that's why now they're on the hunt. But it's a little bit too late. They should have capitalized on the power play itself. And look at Sensei just backing away. Sensei knows already his team secured 4 points. That's more than enough. Let's back away, try and squeeze in a few more placement points. At least try and get 8 points in total in this game.
Yeah, 8 to 10 points is something that he'd eventually want to look forward to. But again, all the other teams are just trying to create that cushioning, right? You can see that gap now being built up. Team Tamila's on 182. Raven, their total should be 185. But wait a second. Team Forever, they want to try and fight a bit more than maybe what they could chew. Every single time these two teams have fought, Team Forever have come out on top. But this time,
my God.
Ash has been taken down on his knees.
The playmaker's down. Now it's time to grind through, and that's what Oshi was here to do. But unfortunately, Team Forever still, they've got a lot of life. Another shotgun shot comes through, and Mafia finds a nice 2-piece in this fight. And that's going to flip the odds in the favor of Team Forever. This is a complete different Team Forever that we've been witnessing for the past few days. But this is the exact Team Forever that we all needed. Ninju up close and personal against the last remaining player of OG. As Team Forever slowly and steadily handing out the finishing blows. And Team Forever, they've already secured 10 points in this entire moment.
Beautiful performance coming in from them. And it's AK now who will be taking an exit from that engagement. He'll be running away, trying to survive. Orangutan have got 7 points already. But Team Forever, they kind of want to go in for the hunt as well.
Like that.
Exactly. They still want to hunt down that one member. Want to make sure that there would be no one to spoil the game for us whatsoever.
But it's AKOP, man. A man who pulled off 9 eliminations in one single game. If this man gets a little bit of that wind underneath his sails, even he can start to perform like a mega performer for his team. And he's been doing so time and time in the past. But let's be honest, right? The teams that desperately do need to win in their sails, it's going to be Carpadium, Vasista Esports, Mogo Esports, Team X-Park. In my opinion, they've lost the chance to be in that top 4. So at this point, they're just playing over here to iron out all the wrinkles that are there in the playstyle.
Even Team Z, man, because they only had one game today and they could not close it out. I would also say the same thing for 8-bit. Not having that opportunity now, because from tomorrow and day after tomorrow, it's going to be that impact player. And everyone's going to be focusing on the teams from 5th spot all the way to down 11th, you could say. Carnival Gaming, I still feel that they would find an opportunity, maybe tomorrow. Unless, of course, we're going to see this lead being built up even further. Team Forever still need to pull out a banger of a 25 to 30 point game if they want to stand a chance in entering into that top 4. They're at 121 right now.
So are you saying they need to move fearlessly?
Yes.
Just like our Philips One Blade?
Absolutely.
Have it in your pockets to get that extra bit of confidence.
True.
But you need to deliver the Nixon cuts in this game to get the points. I mean, looking at the replay and how that entire fight escalated, CG, it was just quite a rough day in general for 8-bit. And 8-bit is having a rough week, if you'd like to say. They have not been able to perform that well in this entire league stage. They did so well in the opening week, but then later on, the boys just ran out of luck.
I would agree with you on that one. It just seemed that the 8-bit that we saw in the opening week was entirely different. We did see the glimmers yesterday when they fought against Carpedium. All the way over towards that western part of the map, western part of the main island. But even after that, they just kind of vanished. This team has been struggling a lot whenever it comes to those early 4v4 engagements specifically. The only team that has impressed me every single time with their 4v4 fights has been Reckoning Esports.
Reckoning Esports consists of all the young boys, right? And that makes a lot of sense too, why they're able to put some insane amount of numbers on the board, and especially having a man like Hunter Stu to back you up. That's even better. Reckoning Esports' 4-on-4 fights have been really good, but sometimes, if you've noticed, the survival has been a bit of a question.
True.
Claiming the chicken dinners as well has been a bit of a problem for Reckoning Esports. But they're really good at snatching the points when it comes to the finish, and that's been their stronger suit. And the same thing can be said for Global Esports too, right? You've got 3 firepowers right underneath your belt, and then you've got a man like Arsalan to drive that power, to drive that force. Global Esports yesterday, they found the first chicken dinner, but in general, they were struggling to find that footing. And you talk about Global right now. One man from Vasista Esports, he tried to go for that rotation. He was caught out in the open. For Slug, that was a free point.
He's just been out there claiming those 3 points. It was Justin who did all the hard work. And Slug was like, thank you so much for that. I'm going to steal it away.
Oh, but he's burning through a lot of those bullets. He won't have a lot of magazines at the end. Only 90 spare ammo, and he's got 40 loaded. So that's tough. But let's see. I mean, he's managed to claim 1 elimination, so he can definitely go and loot that death crate. But there's a few more fours around that entire crate. It will be tough to loot that. But Sister Esports started things off on the aggressive note. They got a few points underneath their belts, 1 power play finish too, but that's not enough to put them back in the top 4. They need a really big game, at least 11 points in this one single game, and then later on move up with that same consistent number.
Agreed. Another team that also needed a big game was, of course, Revenant, but only with just 4 of them. And last 1 man remaining, that is Sensei. Things are looking very dicey. X-Spark on the other side, though, they've got 2 points, but it just probably comes down to the point as to how many chances of playoffs or how many chances of the finals qualification can this boy.
Oh my god, Vasista Esports is screwed. The
Yeah,
man's in the water. He's spotted too. Ninja Boys knows that there's a man underneath the water lines. And he ejects right on the shore. And he's waiting for Apollo to peek out. Slowly and steadily, Apollo's going to start taking a lot of damage, considering he will be suffocating to his death. He needs some air. Apollo repositioning himself, that's really crucial too. Ninja Boy does not know where Apollo is right now. And that's good news. But eventually spots out Apollo once again. Pulls out the shotgun because he knows he's up close and personal. And slowly and steadily, Vasista Esports is getting snuffed out. But this is good for Global Esports because they can restock up on the ammunitions once again.
True that, but I just find it funny how Beast just trying to catch Secret while jumping down from that rock was just not able to, but yeah, that finish should come down eventually in his own favor. Apollo would probably be the only one who's remaining, and Ninja Boy is one who's basically hot on his heels.
Oh, there we go.
Finally, the confirmation.
Apollo's still alive though.
For
and
how
there's
long?
2 players on that one single man. He's underneath the water. He's constantly taking damage from suffocation, and then add on the damage of the play zone too. It's now doubled up. So the man can't withstand the amount of damage that the play zone is putting onto him for too long. Global Esports, they are spreading themselves out, and considering Global Esports knows that they've got the bounty on top of their head, they need to play a little bit more responsible. And that's what they're doing. They're not really prioritizing the fights anymore. Instead, just collecting a few scraps here and there. They need a restock on the ammunition, and that's why they need to find this fight in a positive footing.
True. Just probably waiting for a hit marker right now. Slug.
Apollo, man.
How does he even know?
He healed himself, and now he's moving to the safe zone. There's no way Apollo's doing this. He's just playing with the poise. But yeah, it's done. Apollo spotted. The last confirmation is there. Global Esports, time to restock up on the ammunition.
The whole point about that engagement was they wanted to find that one pick, but unfortunately the man just drowned. so it did not help them out. But I like what Global Esports have done till now, right? You can look at where Beast is, you can look where Arsenal is. They've occupied those important compounds on this one shore. But yes, God's Rain are also trying to jump in to catch onto Ninja Boy and Slug.
Their position is unnoticed, at least for now. But God's Rain, they do not have enough manpower to face off against Global Esports. I'm not sure who picked off the first two players of God's Rain, but if it is Global Esports, then it's not a good choice to take a fight against Global Esports themselves. It's better to just move away, maybe potentially face off a different team, try and grab a few points before getting taken out. You are there in the top 4. You cannot afford to mess things up anymore.
Yes. There's already Team Tamilas who messed it up and are now out of the race. Team X-Pac as well. They were trying to find some opportunities, some opening, but another team that has been on a pretty solid roll is Team Forever for this game. That one early clutch by Ash, catching 2 people, and right now you also have the members of Mogo. And Mogo is a team that has been struggling, specifically in those fights. And the struggle is visible as well, because they are down to that 17th spot. Not a single point claimed till now. Still not going in for any kind of fight. Sensei can actually play in as a spoiler for Team Forever.
Team Forever's position in quite a weird terrain. They've got the ridges to play with. Understandable. Team Forever's been feeling themselves. That's also quite a great news. And this is why I said Team Forever's faced off in quite a weird position. Now they would need to deal against the players of Mogo Esports, and that's the only time where they can get a flawless rotation. If they do not wipe out Mogo Esports over here, in the back they will bite them later. That's definitely going to happen. A push is going to come to shove. Mogo Esports from the top, they've got a better view. Especially Justin. He knows exactly where the players of Team Forever are. Ninju on the right, Omega is there too around that area. And now Team Forever is sitting back in the vehicle. It's time to move away. I like this call, but as I mentioned, there's a high chance Mogo Esports will bite him in the back later on.
Probably. We'll have to see how that eventually pans out, because again, on the other side, Global Esports are taking a fight against the members of Team X-Pac. And this is a crucial one. Oh, wait a second. They've deleted the members of X-Pac.
Another chicken dinner coming from Global Esports.
Yeah, it's almost 100%.
Was the first. Now this one's going to be the second. That's really nice. And just look at the amount of map control Global Esports has. It's insane. They're controlling the entire zone. Arsalan's inside of the hard compound. There's 8-bit. Not exactly 8-bit, but there's Carpadium around that area. So yeah.
Yeah, that was Pukar's name that you read at 8-bit. It's Big Daddy Pukar.
Yeah, the B sort of looked like 8 from the far end. But yeah, Carpadium now, they spot out the player of Global Esports. Slug's going to be suppressed a little bit, but is that suppression really going to matter? When Global Esports, they're feeling at the top of their game. Gamla Boy's position was instrumental. He finds the man slip by, but Global Esports, they've still spread their wing way too far away. Does Gamla Boy know there's another man right next to him? That's my question. Ninja Boy's around that fray, but Global Esports, they retreat.
Yeah, they're rendezvousing over towards the compounds. They know that every other team will try to go in for that fight. And this is perfect for Global Esports. They've got covers from one side, and it's going to be fight being taken on the other side. Sensei as well, just trying to play in as a spoiler. Mogo would have to deal with them as all the fights in the water come through. Justin with those shots, but could not find the final blow onto Team Forever.
How lucky Sensei. In that smoke, not a single shot was connected against him.
Oh my
Team
God.
Forever, Omega is barely surviving. On a pixel of HP, Team Forever slowly and steadily crossing on over to the opposite side. It's Global Esports from the top. Mogo Esports is right next to him, taking shots against them, and Ninja is stuck. And now Sensei and Ninja are 2 teammates, even though they're not supposed to. They're playing together. Ninja is slowly and steadily suffocating to his death, while Sensei can see him suffocate. Considering he's his opponent, Sensei is definitely going to have some evil smirks. But even Sensei himself is now starting to suffocate. Sensei cannot peek out just yet. If he does, he will be taken down.
True, but with this nade, maybe Mogo can find a return knock onto the members of Global Esports. So basically managed to get 1, but what a nade by Destro. It catches 2. Ninja is down on his feet, under the water, and he's got to go and rendezvous with his teammates to try and survive for this one. Carpadium over towards the southeastern side. Their position is going to be critical because they can also try and take fight against Global, but Global should win this one.
Carpedium slowly and steadily moving towards Global Esports. And Global Esports, look at that spread out approach.
Lovely.
You've got Mogo on the left. You see Team Forever as well. There's Carpedium around that fray. I mean, Global Esports, they're losing out on the man number slowly and steadily. As Arcelin closes on up, he will get the revival on that fallen man. Ninja Boy's there in the back lines. And look at Justin. He's also prone down, so it's going to be having that extra bit of buff when it comes to the spray. He will be laser. Mafia has been spotted. He took too many shots upon himself. There's also Carpedium in the back. We'll be looking forward to snatch that one single elimination point away.
Oh my
For
God.
Carpedium, this game is really important. For Global Esports, they're already dominating. If they do secure this game, it's just going to put them a little bit more higher in the overall standings. But for Carpedium, this game is desperately needed. For Mogo Esports too, it is needed, but they do not have a lot of elimination points to back it up.
Lovely knock onto Ninja Boy, and this should flush him out as well. A confirmation. Oh, maybe not. Just a bit too wide. And with that one, Mogo should be the team who will get that chicken for themselves because they've got the numbers advantage. It's only Fury who can apparently be a bit of a nuisance. Almost a very nice nade. If it catches two onto Mogo, this would have been everything. Ninja Boy's finish has been stolen by Fury, as I mentioned. And it's Carpedium one side, 3 people, Mogo with 4 on one side. And that's a beautiful 3-pointer from Kamla Boy.
What a precision that was. Carpedium, they do find a really crucial opener against Mogo. And now Mogo slowly and steadily starting to lose the grip in this fight. But for Carpedium, it's a neutralizer. It's now a 3v3 against Mogo, while Global Esports is at the top. And I'm pretty sure Global Esports isn't going to be a part of this fight for a long time. They're going to let these two teams duke it out against each other, while Justin fights a beautiful knock. And now for Carpedium, even they're losing out in this fight slowly. Global Esports will definitely try to go for that third party, as Beast is now creating that flank angle. From the back is tossing out the Molotov to clear out the tree, but for Carpedium, slowly and steadily, the end is near.
Lovely nade coming in from Justin. Can he follow up with a confirmation? Not yet, but Beast with that flank, as you mentioned. He should eventually see Pukar as well as Gamla Boy. But as soon as he does that, as soon as Carpedium is taken down by Global Esports, that means Mogo will potentially get the chicken. But what a nade from Robin. Couple of players knocked down again. It's only Pukar remaining now, the last man.
Oh, but look at Fury all the way in the back from Godsreen, still constantly patching himself up to secure that second spot in the game. Can Fury make it happen? That's my question. Does he have enough first states to keep on patching himself up? That's another question that's popping up. Fury gets spotted, is taking too much damage. He will be shut down by Destro. Any points that Mogo Esports gets here on out is really crucial, because they do not have a lot of elimination points from the start. But in the end, they can definitely collect as many as possible. That will just add on to the tally in the overall standings. Because Mogo Esports, the ray of hope is slowly and steadily fading away to make it inside of the top 4. But as Destro gets caught, Beast gains the confidence.
2-on-2.
And Beast is being that Beast player for Global Esports every single time. Oh, Pukar gets caught as well. Mogo Esports on the verge of elimination. But look at Global. They found the big advantage that was needed. And that's the HP advantage. Arcelin from the top is constantly taking shots, while Beast from the sidelines is also dealing a lot of damage. Mogo Esports in critical condition, and they're constantly taking shots upon themselves. They do return back the favor against Beast, as he does find the advantage. But now Beast is going for that patchup. And if this patchup comes through, Global Esports will be back to life, but a beautiful utility to close the things off.
And that was all the way thanks to Destro, who moved up to confirm the position of Beast as to exactly where it was. And then the rest of the Mogo team followed it up perfectly with those utilities, as you mentioned. Beautiful chicken dinner coming in for their side. As soon as Arcelin was knocked out, they lost that advantage of that one other person on that flank and could fully focus down on Beast. That's one of the reasons why you also need those confirmations, but Justin was constantly firing shots onto Beast so that he cannot do that amazing game.
Exactly, the Molotov to flush out the player from that comfort zone behind the ridge. It was nicely done by Mogo, but Global, even they had a banger performance.
चिकन डिनर रैंगल पे पहला मैच और वो निकाला है डिफेंडिंग चैंपियंस मोगो ने. क्या इतना पसीना आ गया था क्या रॉबिन?
नहीं थोड़ा टफ सर्कल था. हम पानी में थे सिचुएशन, बट जोन ने हमको फेवर किया. फिर हमने पानी के जो शोर लाइन पर अच्छा खेला, तो यानी हमको फिर फ़ायदा भी हो उसका।
यार डेस्ट्रो, यूजुअली नॉर्दर्न साइड पे तुम चिकन डिनर नहीं निकालते हो, मिलिट्री जोन में ड्रॉप था तुम्हारा, उसके बाद इतनी दूर जाके चिकन डिनर निकालना, दिस वाज नॉट योर यूजुअल रोटेशन प्लान?
नहीं नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है। हमारा सबसे स्ट्रॉन्ग जोन ही नॉर्दर्न जोन है। लाइक 2 साल से यही रहा है कि हमारा नॉर्दर्न जोन स्ट्रॉन्ग रहे, अच्छा ही खेलते हैं हम। ये मैच में मतलब थोड़ा लॉबी इजी था हमारे लिए रोटेशन करना सेकंड थर्ड जोन तक। लास्ट में वही था कि हम 4 मैन स्ट्रॉन्ग थे और बेसिक्स पे स्टिक कर रहे, तो चिकन आ गया इजी।
ये जो लास्ट में हमने देखा कि कापी टीएम भी थी, ग्लोबल भी थी, रोटेशन भी चल रहा था, ये जो यूटिलिटी थी, कैसे निकाला तुम लोगों ने फिर ये?
आई मीन वही बहुत इंटेंस हो गया था, लगा नहीं था इतना इंटेंस जाएगा मैच, बिकॉज सिचुएशन ऐसी हो गई थी कि मतलब दोनों भी एडवांटेज था लास्ट में 2v2 में भी। वो तो हमारे यूटिलिटी अच्छी यूज़ कर ली हमने, तो चिकन आ गया।
तुम बात करते हो, ये तो बात करता ही है मुझसे, रॉबिन भी बात करता है, ये भाई बोलते क्यों नहीं है यार?
बोलेगा आज
डेल्टा कुछ तो बोल यार, मतलब मैं बार बार थोड़ा ना डेस्ट्रो, जस्टिन और रॉबिन के पास जाऊंगा।
बताओ क्या बोलना है? अब वो सवाल पूछे मैं तो उसका जवाब दे।
तो डेस्ट्रो ने ये दिमाग में डाल दिया था हमारे कि इस डोमिनेशन वीक में हम लोग मतलब सिर्फ गेम प्ले देख रहे हैं, अपना जो भी छोटी मोटी खामियां उनको पूरा कर रहे हैं। तुम्हारा अब ये गेम है वो देख के तो ऐसा लग नहीं रहा है। और सुना है कि आपकी मम्मी भी बहुत ज़्यादा ई स्पोर्ट्स फॉलो करती हैं।
हाँ, मेरी मम्मी खुद गेम खेलती हैं, तो वो वो पूरा ई स्पोर्ट्स फॉलो करती है, मतलब सब चीज़ देखती है वो, मतलब उनका इन्वॉल्वमेंट बहुत है मेरे लाइफ में से बोल सकते हो, मतलब ई स्पोर्ट्स को लेके कि मतलब उनका डिसीजन रहता है।
भाई लड़का बोलता है हमें लगा था लड़का बोलता नहीं है, लड़का बोल गया। मोगो को मिलता है एक और चिकन डिनर। द डिफेंडिंग चैंपियंस आर स्टिल इन द हंट टू मेक इट टू द फाइनल्स। एक छोटा सा ब्रेक और लौटेंगे दूसरे मैच के लिए, विच आल्सो इज ऑन अ एंगल।
2023 थी दावत, 2024 में होगी बगावत। मोगो ई स्पोर्ट्स इज हियर टू स्टे।
Red Bull gives you wings.
Another day, another road, and we go. A ride with a win, moving up, we know where to begin. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. On a ride we go. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Another day, another road, and we go. Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it.
What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen? Philips One Blade. Move fearlessly. Innovation and you. Philips. Red Bull gives you wings.
そんな場所だ。全部壊してみっか。俺は塔のてっぺんに登るんだ。Time to test the waters. Tell me how you wanna leave. Now you hear me roll like raw in my beastly mode. Now, wicked unleashed. That's wicked. All the cuts and the curves. So wicked. Take what you deserve. It's wicked. TVS Raider. Unleash your wicked.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. 2x brightening power. With charcoal and vitamin C, deeply cleanses dirt and pollution to fight dullness for instantly bright skin. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. By Garnier Men.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Before we move on to the post-game segment, I've got a quick sponsor call-out to make. Crunchyroll's India's largest anime library with over 800 plus shows, and you can watch those shows in your preferred language. And not just that, you can watch all of that just for 79 rupees per person.
And that's the best thing that you've said all day, man. Thank you so much for that, because I
What?
obviously look for I
Hold on.
always love Crunchyroll, man. That's what we always talk about. But wait a second, another player that we all love, Beast, with a beastly performance with 6 finishes.
Yeah, 6 finishes on the board and 43% finished contribution. That's really nice from Beast, and this is something we sort of are accustomed to seeing from this one single man. He's not just pulling off this miraculous performance one single time over here. He's been doing it time and time in the previous tournaments too that I've seen this guy. And Beast has been the main clutch meister for Global Esports. If you put Beast in a scenario where he needs to face off against the 3 remaining players of one single team, he will wipe them out. For some reason, I just have that confidence in this one single guy.
So he'd basically be that, nah, I'd win, right? That's what he normally would. And I think so one of the main reasons why he's able to pull that off is because he's probably buying merch from Instinct first, right? You know, if you want to avail a discount, ladies and gentlemen, you've got a 20% offer on your screen. It is exclusively for BGMS Master Series. So make sure you grab your hands on this amazing merch from Instinct first. But now coming back to the exact same point that we were discussing, Global Esports, a team that is filled with firepower, a team that thrives onto those finishes, onto those duels, and that team is performing so very well. I think so they might have stolen away the first spot from Reckoning.
I mean, for Global Esports, as I mentioned, it was not really that important of a chicken dinner. Once again, they do choke things up, nothing taken away. They were not able to claim that chicken dinner as being the main problem. Yesterday, they did get the first one. But as I mentioned, claiming the chicken dinner is not going to be the end goal. The end goal is to create that constant loop where teams are not able to catch up to you in the top 4. And Global Esports, if they do have that cushioning, if they do create that loop, then that's going to be really important. And that's what Global Esports are here to do. They're almost really close to that top 1, or maybe they've already conquered the first spot in the overall standings. And now for Global Esports, they can definitely take that seat back.
Exactly. They can basically enjoy now. They can also get few of the more 4v4 fights a little more refined up. But again, this entire game started with some amazing surprises, right? Carnival Gaming dropping in to take that fight against Team Tamilas, whose bounty was eventually claimed by Team Forever.
I mean, listen, talk about refined stuff, and Team Forever was looking really nice today, man. They were taking so many fights in the power play, they were taking the advantage, then later on they kept on the aggressive note. Yeah, in the final few moments they were pincered, so they couldn't really do a lot, but still, Team Forever, they had a lot of impact and a lot of role being played in that previous game. Mogo Esports, as usual, they like to play things really safe and passive. That's what they did, but the main problem for Mogo Esports here is that, as I mentioned, they're playing in the BGMS, and Season 3 brings in a lot of the surprises with power play, bounty, and the impact player. And if Mogo Esports does not start taking advantage of that, well then in the grand finals, I'm pretty sure they won't be the champions this time.
It's going to be a big problem, as you've already mentioned, because most of these teams, they're still thriving onto those early fights, those early engagements. And if I'm not wrong, once we'll see the match rankings as well, I think so Mogo should be on 3rd, if not 2nd. And as I mentioned, they are on 3rd.
And that's the main reason why we're seeing the dip in Vasista Esports' performance too, because we're not seeing them go aggressive early on.
Yes.
Because last time in the week 1, in the survival week, Vasista Esports was really aggressive. And that's why they were on the first spot for such a long time. But then later on, slowly and steadily, the aggression dipped down, and so the points. But for Global Esports, it's never coming down. They're just really good in their 4v4 fights. Yeah, off the rip, they're not really taking those, but they're also not shying away from those fights.
Exactly. They don't shy away whatsoever, and they clean up everyone on the field so very quickly, like, right? It basically just reminds me of that amazing Amazon tap to pay, which you can use to quickly pay for whatever you want to and then move forward with your life. It's so very fast, so very quick. Makes me feel like I'm Ambani or something.
Oh yeah, I mean, it definitely makes your life effortless, if you'd like to put it that way. But yeah, schedule on the screen, and Wrangle's going to be the closure over here for the day. BCTNE will be stepping in, while Group A takes an exit. 8-Bit, Carnival Gaming, Raven, and Team Z won't be performing in this last game of the day, while the rest of the teams are back in the fray once again. And now my eyes are going to be locked on another team that's going to be One Blade, because One Blade, slowly and steadily, they're on the rise.
Yes, absolutely. This team has been doing pretty good in terms of the performance as well, but there are quite a few teams that I feel they really need to step things up, and that's going to be WSB and also Godlike. They've been doing pretty solid though. They did good yesterday.
I mean, recently they've been moving fearlessly, just like our Philips One Blade. There's so much more to talk about, but after this short break.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Wow. Circle to search. Only on Android.
Another day, another road, and we go. A ride with a win, moving up, we know where to begin. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. On a ride we go. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Another day, another road, and we go.
What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen? Philips One Blade. Move fearlessly. Innovation and you. Philips. Red Bull gives you wings.
Time to test the waters. Tell me how you wanna lead. Now you hear me roll like raw. In my beastly mode now. Wow. Wicked unleashed. That's wicked. All the cuts and the curves. So wicked. Take what you deserve. It's wicked.
TVS Raider. Unleash your wicked.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. 2x brightening power. With charcoal and vitamin C, deeply cleanses dirt and pollution to fight dullness for instantly bright skin. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. By Garnier Men.
Red Bull gives you wings.
To live your life the way you want. Compete like the toughest challenger. Dance like there's no...
I mean, looking at that beautiful TVS Raider, and right next to it is that beautiful trophy of the BGMS Season 3. Last year, it was Mogo Esports, or maybe you can't say the lineup of Mogo Esports hoisting it, but who is it going to be this year? That's the biggest question. Everyone always keeps on wondering. But before we move on to the next game, Google Play Days are live. Claim the best BGMI offers now.
Probably that's what most of the people are busy doing as well, and you do not want to miss the chance to grab those amazing gears, all those amazing skins of the vehicles that we normally see in the game itself. But talking about those amazing things, an important chicken dinner coming in for Mogo in the previous game But again, it was basically outshined by Team Forever and Global Esports with those 24-point banger.
Now let's start creating the storyline. For the teams that have already given up the hope of qualifying in the top 4, they can definitely play the spoiler and make sure that some of the top teams, they won't move in the top 4. They can go for that target. I mean, right now it's OneBlade WSB playing in this lobby. For OneBlade, they do still stand a chance barely to make it to the top 4 at the end of this entire Domination week. But for WSB, it's already done. They can move up. If they want, they can target Reckoning. If they want, they can also target a few more teams that do still stand a chance to make it in the top 4.
That's what I wanted to talk about as well, right? And that's what we basically discussed a bit in the opening segment itself, where I mentioned that all the bottom 4 teams, at least now, they've got a good opportunity to try and just target down any team that is from the 4th spot till 7th or maybe the 8th spot to try and stop their movement into that top 4. But also, if in case they get lucky and their game is insane, the players are fragging and everything, they can slowly and steadily move forward in that leaderboard, potentially creating a good fighting chance is what I'd like to say. Because as you mentioned, now we are already seeing a clear and a big disparity between what the top 5 or top 6 is looking like versus or anything apart from that. So yes, teams down towards the lower end should get a better opportunity. But right now, since we're on that topic itself, right, you know that there's WSB, you know that there's Carpedium. Pochinki drop clash incoming?
Maybe. Because I would love to see that. For Carpedium, they do still stand a chance. Now, if Carpedium, they do go for this drop collision against WSB, it's a downside for them. Because WSB don't stand a chance anyways, but Carpedium, they do.
True.
And this game holds a lot of value for Carpedium. But if they do come out on top in that duel, that's 8 free points to start things off with. And that could be something that they can bounce off as the momentum has a good starting point. But here we go. Second game of the day boots up on the screen as the plane flap hat starts all the way from Gatka towards Norupnoi. This is another plane flap hat tilting down south. But keep this thing in mind, Yasna Poliana now is out of reach, so Team X Park will be out on a hunt.
Possibly, we're gonna see a lot of pit stops out there. And it seems like the plane flight path has decided that they hate Global Esports today. Not even a single game where they could move easily towards 70. So they'll have to power up in this one and would eventually be taking that drop collision by some or the other team out there. OneBlade taking early exit along with God's Reign as well. Entity dropping out. Team Tamilas will be dropping down south over towards the Primorsk of Ferrypier region. It should be pretty easy for the teams like Mogo to going over towards their same drop location of military base. There's not even Team Z this time around who will potentially be in Norupnoi.
Still searching for Entity in this entire chaos. And I'm not able to spot the boys just yet. WSB, there's another team that's right next to him moving towards Pochinki. There's probably going to be a few players around that school area too. So this will indeed be a big kerfuffle. Ikusol dropping it towards Pochinki as well. Probably that's what's happening. But Vasista Esports, they take a collision against OneBlade. It's been happening from the start, and Vasista Esports, this time, they don't shy away. They take it up close and personal as OneBlade, even they do still stand a chance. For Vasista Esports, this can be a major spoiler if they do not come out on top. And Vasista Esports, they are spread out quite nicely. All the 4 players spread out in that one single building, while OneBlade, they're only left for 2 players to defend themselves with. And if they want, they can definitely take it up close and personal. But unfortunately for Vasista Esports, they do not really have the favorable weaponry.
That's a big thing and a big point you mentioned. And Vasista Esports, as you've been talking about it, there's a lot to lose for them. But at the same time, they can try and gain a lot from it. Early 8 points, a big boost, maybe a big game. The one like they pulled in the beginning, a double bounty claim, or something like that.
A lot of question marks. Solution, just one. Wipe out the opponent.
Wow.
Carpedium, the same storyline goes on for them. Up against the players of WSB, who does pack a lot of punch, but unfortunately, recently, they have forgot how to punch. And WSB, with all the 4 players, looking to sting the opponents, while Carpedium, they're ready with the precautions. They've got the utilities pulled out in the hands. They're ready with the cook. As Vasista Esports, slowly and steadily running thin on the patience. Secret's got his hands on a really nice loadout, a double-barrel shotgun with the M416. This man can definitely be the one to lead the pack. Wasista Esports. One single util placed to perfection can change the entire outcome.
Tries to drop that one. There's a smoke to block off the vision on one side. To push probably on the other. I like how smartly they're trying to clear out those areas, to clear out those angles. Piece by piece. And that smoke to block off the vision is just insane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, with that he reveals his own position. That's not a good news. He repositions himself in the outskirts on the frame. But this reposition can also be easily prioritized. And that's what Wasista Esports is probably looking forward to do. A really beautiful nade, but luckily enough, the reposition from Surkar saved the day for him. So one blade right now playing all the cards right. Unfortunately, in this scenario, for some reason, it still feels like the odds are stacked against them. They do not really have nice weaponries to defend themselves, but even the attackers do not have good weapons. So it's vice versa.
They're just slowly and steadily clearing out that building floor by floor.
I think so. Wasista Esports should make the go call. They should push. Right now, it's time to lose the patience and make it count. Power play slowly and steadily fading away. 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock for the power play to vanish. And one blade. As the three players, they are quite spread out.
Oh,
I mean,
Sarkar.
slowly and steadily, I'm starting to love that spread. One blade with the starting advantage. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Defending is much more easier than attacking, because while attacking, you need to clear every single angle. And that's where the opponents failed. One blade with the advantage. They now definitely do stand a chance in this fight. But Wasista Esports, once again, they're back as one unit.
Not a lot of HP though. And that's a beautiful shot by Anonymous with a confirmation coming into the play as well. They catch a couple of people, but a pistol in the hand of Apollo trying to turn into Neo, but this man unfortunately will fall. A Secret still sprays down everyone. And it is Wasista Esports coming out on top.
Wasista Esports, even though with the disadvantage, they still do win that fight, all thanks to that one single man. But that was way too close to comfort. And the boys of Wasista Esports, they know it themselves.
Big play. A very big play coming in from Secret. And as you mentioned, with that, finally, they get that cushioning. They get those crucial early 8 points. On loss of one member, they're going to take it every other day. But Maxi, on the other side though, this team on that 6th spot, dropped out. Entity is where they're up against, and Mr. IGL has fallen down on his knees.
Yeah, Entity, I'm not sure what the game plan is for the boys, but they've already lost out on one single faraway man. And now Team Timilas, they swing back to the advantage. Unfortunately for Team Timilas, even Mr. IGL is caught out in the open. Manti's got a huge task ahead of him. Toss out the smoke, get Mr. IGL to the safety lines, and the zone's going to start to move soon. And both of these teams, they're playing on the edge. Power play still active. A decent bit of time for you to try and latch onto these points. For Entity, they've already lost out on one player. But Entity does find the return knockout, but not the confirmation. Fox OP on the verge of being taken down as well. This is not a good disadvantage. But for Entity, they definitely can swing back. Fox OP's way too low. Entity with the disadvantage. It is fine. And Aquinox as well, his hands are way too busy. Does not hear the footsteps approach him. And Entity slowly and steadily losing the grip on this fight as the last man is now backing away from the scenario.
The revival on Mr. IGL can come in as well. Beautiful performance by Team Tamilas. And as you mentioned, the last man from Entity is just going to back off. Not quite sure if this was the best decision or not. But the confirmation is now going to flow in. But hold on a second. Aiku Soul taking a fight against the members of Reckoning. And Reckoning hold a bounty on top of their head.
All of that is fine before Team Tamilas, man. 6 points. A really nice start. And keep this thing in mind. Team Timilas was just kicked out of that top 4 a while ago. So these 6 points are going to count so much. Aiku Soul up against Reckoning Esports, and I'm pretty sure Reckoning Esports is not going to give him that kick. There's no way. But look at Aiku Soul, man. 3 players on that chase and that prowl. For Reckoning Esports, there will be the backup available. So for IQ Seoul, they're looking too desperate. Reckoning Esports losing out on that one single player really gave a knowing for IQ Seoul that yes, it is Reckoning in the front. And Dinosis makes a really big mistake. I'm not sure what the man wanted to pull off, but then it's Reckoning Esports 2 from the back, taking a lot of shots. They claim that one single elimination point. As now IQ Seoul's another man is still in the back lines, trapped behind that buggy. The buggy will be exploded, but it's not needed. Ronnie unfortunately peeks out and meets his demise. Revenant Esports, those are 4 points right there gained.
Big problem for IQ Seoul. Not just Reckoning's bounty is now unclaimable, but also they've lost on one of their member. And they did not claim a lot of points out in that mixture. Nakul is also being chased in by the members of God's Reign. It seems like IQ Seoul is being picked apart one after the other.
I told you it's not a good plan. As soon as the fight started, IQ Seoul was chasing the opponents way too out in the open, and that too around the fields of Yasnaya, where you know there's so many teams lingering around that same vicinity, right? You've got Team X Park that likes to move in towards Yasnaya, Polyana, God's Reign, as well as around that vicinity. Revenant Esports, they like to drop down south towards Milta, but these days they have been looting pretty quick and moving up north. So yeah, there was too much threat around that area. And now for IQ Seoul, they're getting hunted down. God's Reign, thirsty to claim the point, and it makes a lot of sense too. But even God's Reign, they held the bounty on top of their head. Salme, the last remaining player for IQ Seoul. As IQ Seoul get targeted by God's Reign, Fury knows exactly where the last man is. Spots him out, backs away, considering he knows the nade's being cooked to perfection from the opponent. And Salme's able to find the first! Can almost find the second one too, but Salme messes up. This was really close. He could have 1v2'd them.
Could have been possible, and with that he could have flushed out a couple of players too. Would have spoiled the game for God's Reign, but that did not happen. But a team whose game is being spoiled right now is definitely Mogo. They've already lost on a couple of their members, only 2 remaining, and it's X-Park they're up against.
Now listen, X-Park's 4v4 game hasn't been that strong, but still to face off against X-Park, if you're Mogo Esports, that's still going to be a nightmare. No matter if the line's wounded, but it is still supposed to be the most dangerous species that you've ever faced off against. And that's what's happening over here in this fight too. Team X-Park looking like a formidable opponent against Mogo, the defending champions. As now Destro, even he's starting to take too much damage. Mogo Esports, I don't think so they stand a chance in this fight anymore, considering Destro is the only glimmer of hope left alive.
Yeah, this should be done and dusted pretty quickly now. Finally, that nade flushes in, finishes out the player, and early few points for the side of Team X-Park. And as you mentioned, 8 points. We've only got 1 more minute, 60 more seconds remaining for the power play. So as many picks that are going to come through right now, it's important, but the same thing could be said for the members of Carpadium as they are fighting against the members of... Oh, wait a second.
Ooh, Team Timulas, that's a rough slap to the face. That's going to strike their egos. But even Fox OP gets knocked out. I'm not sure how Global Esports always is able to find positive traits, but it's a miracle. That's how it feels like. And look at this nade. I think so it's been tossed to perfection. It does move inside of the house, but unfortunately the revival was back in time. So Team Timulas now looking like a strong unit. Global Esports will also get the revival on the fallen player, and Mr. Aichil gets spotted once again. Slowly and steadily, Team Timulas getting dismantled in such a systematic way as they don't even stand a chance in the fight anymore. And for Global Esports, they've got the man number. They can go for that extra bit of risk, and Beast is already feeling himself. The last nade's gonna catch Fox.
Beautiful way to play in this one. This was not the perfect compound to be at. Exactly. And it was a 2-2 split coming in. It was Arcelin and, if I'm not wrong, Beast who went in up forward, while Ninja Boy and Slug were all the way out, trying to equalize that advantage of the height. And just tossing the nades left, right and center. So even though Team Tamilas, they had a good opening in the early fights, they had some quick 8 points, but that was all they were able to manage. Being eliminated out here, and again, down in Pochinki, it was Carpadium winning against the WSB boys. So Carpadium getting those crucial 8 points as well, and it was all in the time of power play. So they still have an opportunity to try and breach into that top 4 today. no way they're gonna use that vehicle, right?
Yeah, this is a big mistake from OG. They're not
What?
aware of the surroundings. The birds' wings can be clipped right here, right now. Aru is on the move, and there we go. Z-God finds the first striking advantage. AKOP's way too low behind that ridge. Admino's position is noticed too by OG. So Godlike's trap now is being exposed. But the trap is already activated a while ago, and it's already found a positive trade. Godlike with the man advantage in this entire scenario. I think is taking way too much damage from the blue. OG's way too scratched up.
What? Someone please play I Believe I Can Fly in the background.
I mean, he doesn't believe he is flying right now.
Yeah, exactly. He's... Or
But
just
I don't
play Sign
understand
of
the
the
reason
Times.
why he's taking that fly in the sky.
Because they don't care. They're just having fun.
I don't know why he's just having fun, because they haven't made it in the top 4 just yet.
We'll have to see, man, because I think so. Yes, with the 8 points that Team Tamilas have got, they've moved up, but OG still carry the bounty. Because of the previous game, they actually breached on that 4th spot.
Yeah, but they're in such a critical condition if they're messing around. I don't think so. They are just messing around. This was something that they did not really see coming. They're getting caught off guard. Jonathan, he wants to chase down that bird. He wants to clip his wings. And now he finds himself that higher ground. Aru ejects out. The man's in the water. Jonathan knows. And he's now on the search. If Aru goes for even one single peek, his position will be noticed. Territory marked. He knows Aru is somewhere in the water lines, and slowly and steadily, the man's going to start to suffocate to his death. But OG, this is brilliant from them. They're just denying the bounty points to Godlike. They do not want them to have the free points. Oh my god, OG. This is cruel. I mean, Ninja Boy did something else, but then OG does this. Oh, man.
What? I told you they're just having fun. They don't care about this game.
I don't think so. They're having fun. That's what I think. But considering one of the men was already taken down,
true.
That's where they was like, all right, you know what? We're already capitalized. We're compromised. We can't come out on top of the fight anymore. Yeah, it's fine if you guys die. I won't give the last donation away anyway. So yeah, the bounty's denied. But Vasista Esports, they're getting hunted. They started things off at 8 points, but now the conversion is not looking too fluid. Vasista Esports down to just that one last man. And what is he going to do? Wixkey?
He's going to run away. He's going to show his backs to the opponents. Specifically to Global Esports. Not the perfect decision out there, but still, it's absolutely fine. He's going to be playing in for the survival. Vasista have got 8 points, so it's understandable that they would want to play in to grab in a few of those position points if possible. Maybe pull what God's Reign pulled in one of the previous games, where Fury, if I'm not wrong, was at least in the top 4.
Godlike is going to be so pissed. But that's the only thing that's in my head right now.
Still stuck up on the same point. And
imagine, I think he gave his life away to the play zone.
And
he tossed an aid, if I'm not wrong.
So here's the thing. I'll tell you one thing. One pick was by Godlike.
Which was Wizjod.
There was Wizjod.
AKOP is way too low.
AKOP finished himself with a nade.
Exactly, and that's what I think he did too.
Atanki finished himself from the play zone, and Aru drowned. 3 different ways of taking your own life. What are we watching?
Yeah.
Stray Dogs?
But as I mentioned, right, OG, they weren't messing around. OG, they knew that they're trapped in a trap, so it's better to just give your lives away to the gods themselves. Sacrifice. That's what they made. As long as they're closer to that top 4, that's all that matters, right? There's still that breaching point.
Exactly.
They're way too close towards that. So OG's completely fine with that one single loss of a game. But they also need to understand, if the teams underneath them start to perform in this game, then they will be pushed down hard in the overall standings. This one single game can be a big difference maker. For Team Forever, they've already got decent amount of points underneath their belt. Once again, they were looking quite solid in the firefights in the previous game and looking forward to carry the same momentum in this one too. Team X Spark, they started things off with a bang, but now that bank is not anymore.
Team Forever.
Oh my God, such a hard shift in Global
nasty
Esports.
shift.
Another big game just in their court. I guess Global, they're going to have a really big lead in the overall standings. This has to be Global Esports' nuclear performance. Yet
True.
another one.
I was about to say that even though the plane flight path is cruel to Global Esports, the circle has been just a blessing for them.
Or maybe you can't say they're just really good enough at capitalizing the zones and
That is
clearing out
true.
the zones. Because the first zone was around that Georgia Pool vicinity, right? In the previous game. And the
True.
way they capitalized the zone, cleaning out the teams inside of the zone, they were taking those fights too, then later on spreading themselves out. So they're just really good when it comes to that confidence game. And that's what the boys have realized, man. The boiling blood gives you that confidence, but as I mentioned, there's a thin line between confidence and overconfidence. But these players are overconfident, but there's a reason why they're overconfident, because they know they can prove it. They can justify that overconfidence. I know I just said a lot of stuff. I know I just said a lot of stuff, but try to understand. Try to understand.
You're just yapping right now. Just calm down already. all right. Coming back to what we're seeing right now, as you mentioned about the confidence and overconfidence thing, Team Forever right now just trying to chase away the members of
Global Esports is already denying entry to the boys. There's one single man facing off against the 4 players of God's Reen.
That's Global Esports for you, man, and that's when they get confident.
That's what I'm talking about. He's got no clue of stepping in an unknown territory. He still comes out on top of that duel. And he denies that complete entry. Look at Beast. This man is like a tower. No one dares to breach him.
High ground? I am the high ground. That's what Beast is doing. Arsenal as well.
Now, I understand confidence, but let's be honest. This screams overconfidence. The players are so exposed, they do not know what the territory holds.
True.
And they're still at the top of their own houses. They're holding the high grounds with such an exposed body. They just do not care about anything. But as I mentioned, they can justify their overconfidence.
True. And with that, as you mentioned about it, Ninja Boy, Slug, these are the 2 players who are just far ahead, and that's one of the reasons why Beast and Arcelin can just play on top of those compounds, because you know that there are a couple of people who are scouting the entire area for you. At the same time, their entire job is just to look at who's gonna rotate from up top north. And even Godlike, as we're talking about that, they're gonna be breaching in from the northeastern part, while all the other teams are moving from down south. So Global Esports, they are controlling 60% of the circle.
Now, what I'm trying to say over here is that even though Slug found the first opening blow against the opponent, usually a team would instantly try to provide the cavalry over there.
Yes.
But Global Esports, they haven't pulled back the troops at all. They're still at their designated spot. That means they trust that one single man so much to hold off the opponent team that they just do not need to provide that extra bit of backup.
True.
But Godlike can be a surprising factor over here, considering they're moving all the way from the northern side behind the lines of Global Esports. There are 2 players looking at the back line, so hopefully this does not flip against Godlike themselves.
True. Now, this is where, as I was mentioning, Beast's performance is going to come into play. How much information is he going to grab in? That's going to be a big question. As right now, Carpedium trying to take the entry from the eastern part, a welcome by the members of God's Reign. And Slug is still holding that line. This is bonkers. They still stick to their plan of dividing the entire territory just to make sure that they will move in together as soon as the circle shifts. And even now, Ninja Boy is in the circle. Fields has been taken down on his knees. The confirmation is also there.
There we go. Slug strikes down another man. As I told you, he's an unbreachable wall. He cannot be penetrated.
He's open. There's no wall around him. That's the craziest part. And now he's going to finally run away from that position.
I don't think you understand. I called him the wall.
I know. He's the wall. And I just wanted to point out the fact that he is the wall. And he's got no cover around him but whatsoever. Oh, he
the Great Wall of China. But there we go, Global Esports. It's a cleanup crew. It's like one single team smurfing in the lobby. That's what it feels like. They've got so much confidence. It's just oozing out. It's oozing out. Now that's what you call aura.
It is definitely aura at this point, man. Plus 1,000 aura points to this team. Just insane performance. And even now, Godlike, they can't directly breach in from the northern part since they know that Global Esports are controlling that territory.
All of that is fine, but if that Carpedium to deal with in the first, and if they are done dealing with Carpedium, then it's Godsreen stepping in the fray. For Godlike, this zone is filled with a lot of hardships.
Yes. The only team that has actually got a good positioning is Revenant Esports. They've got all the 4 players, 3 of them already inside the circle, a bit off center, but it's fine. And then Flock is just confirming that there's no one coming in from the southern part. So he's out there scouting down south. They only have Reckoning Esports onto the northeastern part a bit, who will eventually be taking the fight against Team Forever. Because from where they're trying to take that entry, they will be breached in from a couple of angles. They'll be sandwiched.
Godlike on the run, on the move. They want to pull off the great escape. They want to pull off the greatest rotation, but I'm pretty sure they themselves do not know what they're doing. And Global Esports, they move outside of the safe zone because they do not even care about reconquering it. They hunt down the players of Godlike, and slowly and steadily, Godlike, they do not have any reply off this pounce from Global Esports. What just happened? They came, they conquered, and they backed off.
Brilliant play at this point. I mean, even Admin has been knocked down by Ninja Boy.
It's not even brilliant. It's YOLO, but they're still winning it.
Oh my god. This is absolutely crazy. And Slug decides that he's going to leave Jonathan. Absolutely
oh my God,
not.
It's done.
They are like a hunting party out there.
It's
Jonathan's going to be
done.
falling in for the safe zone. And that is it. Godlike, deleted, obliterated, demolished.
Global Esports, the freaks of nature, an unstoppable machine in the lobby. And the way they are just claiming this lobby, owning this lobby, it's insane to me. They gave up that zone control just to move outside of the zone to claim the backlines. They did so, and now they move inside of the zone with ease. Unfortunately, Beast gets taken down by the play zone, and he will be unfortunately confirmed, but it's completely fine for Global Esports. They've already got so many points that they can keep on moving up with that same pace.
13 now because Arcelin just somehow found Max Payne out there and eventually went off of his vehicle to finish him off. Few shots being fired right now, and I mean, you can't even say at this point that it's anything but brilliance. Because even now in this circle, Global Esports is the team that has got a good positioning. Apart from him, Sensei, yes, you could argue, Revenant. But that's all. Godsrain have been denied the entry for past 3 zones.
The funny part is, everyone's seeing the elimination feed go crazy by the name of Global Esports that no one dares to challenge him now. Godsrain, it's a pounce against them from Revenant. And slowly and steadily, the boys are losing out in this duel. And for Godsrain, they can't really do a lot. They're getting pounced on from all the different directions, and they themselves know it's done. Global Esports do from the far fray. They do claim that one single point, but even Safe gets capitalized from Revenant.
Arcelin has been knocked down though. So their approach with the spread out one is now finally backfiring. Picking them apart one after the other. You claim 1 point of us, we're going to take 1 man of yours, is what Revenant has said. Are they going to go in for the revival? Is the big question right now. It's going to be risky.
Finally a stop to Global Esports' aggression. Arcelin's knocked out.
Yeah.
So yeah, now with just a 2-man squad, Global Esports will definitely try to take that back step.
Look at the points.
It's not needed. As you mentioned, look at the points. 18 finished points already converted. And add on the placement points at the top, that's just even better. And if they do get the chicken dinner, oh, icing on top of the cake. With just a 2-man squad, it will be tough to pull off. But you can see the players circling around Arcelin. They want to get the revival back upon the fallen player, but it's a little too late. But Global Esports still thriving for map control.
True. And a team that has not yet got it is Team Forever, as they are being stopped by the members of Reckoning. They've left 1 man behind to provide that cover, constant cover, and finally Team Forever will move on the backlines. Immortal is taken down, showing how mortal he is. And it's Team Forever claiming a couple of more points. Hunters could not play out his role this time around. But it's absolutely fine. Reckoning they get 2 points. It's Revenant now. Will eventually be trying to pounce on the member. And Ninja, good for 1, but only 1.
Revenant Esports sticking to their own main playstyle. Relying on their heroics of brilliance. And that's what they're doing. Conquering the final zone. Here to claim the chicken dinner with only 6 finishes. They won't really have a lot of finish points to back it up, but definitely something that they can look forward to. But they need to face off against Team Forever in full flesh. And this will be tough for Revenant Esports to swallow. Because if they're not able to shut down Team Forever, well then all of the efforts from the start till the end, down the drain.
One good thing for both of these teams, Revenant and Team Forever, is in fact that they've got all the players standing. Sensei all the way far back. Now he can eventually be fired upon by Slug. That's one last remaining member of Global Esports, so he's got to be careful with that. Blaze as well, firing through the smoke itself. Trying to catch in a few more players. Both the teams have occupied that chord of that circle. That to the opposite ones. And apparently create a triangle. But the next circle shift is going to be the determining factor as to which team is now going to be pushed into the uncomfortable spot. Slug is going to be such a big spoiler, man, I'm telling you.
He will be. He's a sneaky creature. He's spotted right now. And Slug instantly pros back to safety. He's got one single vehicle to go for that rotate last moment, and I'm pretty sure Slug is going to be that one single person that will be a bit annoying in these firefights. Especially, you've also got Wixkey alive from Vasista Esports. Give it to this man. I mean, Wixkey has been surviving for a while. And he's right in front of Slug. Does Slug have any clue? There's Wixkey in the front lines. But Slug is taking too many shots upon himself. And he's also going to be done by the play zone. And that's it. Global Esports, they take an exit from this game. But still a mark, an iconic performance from the boys.
Big performance, as you mentioned. And plus, they're eliminated on the 4th spot. So, a few extra points for that. Going to be a big banger of a 20-point game. Vixky on the other side. Just one more first aid remaining for this man. Nothing apart from that.
Oh, he can creep in the zone. He definitely can.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he's going to try to do. See? Oh.
All right.
Yeah, well, I mean, I built it up from the bottom till the top. I mean, everything was perfect until that one man from Revenant Esports just paused it all. Feel bad. But yeah, Team Forever, all the 4 players up and alive. Now it's going to be a proper 4v4 battle between Revenant and Team Forever. And speaking of Team Forever, their firefights have been looking really nice today itself. So you can't say they found the momentum, they found that wind in the sails, and this fight can be easily converted too. But the only reason why the odds are stacked with the players of Revenant is because they have a solid concrete cover to play with.
Yes. But slowly and steadily, even Revenant would have to move a bit more ahead. Specifically, Blaze and Sensei. They're too far behind. I just want to see how many smokes does Team Forever have remaining right now.
So here's the thing, right? The solid concrete covers works with them, but it also comes with a disadvantage.
Yes.
Pros and cons. Now the opponents know that the majority of Revenant Esports is behind this one single cover. So they can keep on focusing on that one single area. But all of this comes down to the man who's spread out, separated from this pack, which is going to be Sensei, the main playmaker. If he does not strike right now, if he does not find a knockout, Revenant Esports will be dusted.
I like the way how Team Forever, they just sent out player to scout out that entire area and basically give them more control of the ground. To confirm that, all right, this is an empty spot.
Sensei closed on up.
He is also closed on up. All the 4 players now together, up close and personal in that one area. That is not the best decision.
One nade.
One nade, as you mentioned.
Claim 2 finishes.
True. If you had one chance, one opportunity.
Oh.
One nade.
It comes sailing. Should find one maybe. It was really close and Blaze is so lucky. Oh, another one sails in. Now Blaze is way too low. And he instantly backs away to safety lines. He knows on the verge of being knocked out. But look at Revenant Esports. They still do not know the exact confirmation of Team Forever's position.
True.
The players are slowly and steadily moving in, while Team Forever, they know exactly where Revenant Esports is positioned. Maybe Sensei is a little bit off the radar. But still, Team Forever, they've got a rough vision, a rough knowing of exactly where Revenant Esports can be.
Ash and Omega's position are going to be critical. If Sensei finds a knock onto either one of them, the second one's going to go in for that trade very quickly. But Revenant would have to move forward. But there we go.
Sensei
Omega has been taken down. Ash needs to find the trade, but it's just not there. And Revenant can now capitalize on the positioning that has been opened up.
One single knock was the major table turner, and now Team Forever slowly and steadily are getting snuffed out. They're moving in tandem, but Team Forever's fights, they have been looking immaculate. But this time, not anymore. As they face off against Revenant, they straight up collide. And the dismantle is there against the opponents from Revenant. Nicely done. As Team Forevers, they leave the lobby. Revenant, they claim the chicken dinner.
And as you mentioned, as we were talking about it, Sensei being that trigger, Sensei being that person. Couple of Korean hearts being shown out here. The man is definitely into the weeb culture. Like it.
Okay.
But yes.
But for few of the teams like Carpadium, where we expected a big performance, wasn't there. And then Global Esports, with such an iconic mark being made in that previous game, I just want to move on to the stage and look at this interview.
ओके मैन, काफी दूर बैठे भाई, मैं तो वहां ढूंढ रहा था तुम्हें यार। इस बार मेरे पास तलवार नहीं है यार सेंसे, वरना कुछ अतरंगी करते। ओके, लास्ट में टीम फॉरएवर 4v4 बैठ जाना, मैं खड़ा हूँ ना, काफी सम्मान देने के लिए मेरे भाई। टीम फॉरएवर, उनके भी 4, तुम्हारे भी 4। इट वाज ऑलमोस्ट लाइक यू ब्लिंक एंड यू विल मिस। बहुत टफ होता है। व्हाट वाज गोइंग ऑन, क्या बात चल रही थी, कॉन्वर्सेशन?
हमें पता था कहीं ना कहीं कि 4v4 फाइट है हमारी, और मैंने बोला कि तुम लोग थोड़ा वेट करो, मैं आगे जा रहा हूँ प्रोन करके, एक ओपनिंग निकालूंगा और सीधा ड्राइव बाय कर देना ताकि कंफ्यूज हो जाए। और फिर हमने एग्जैक्टली वही करा, और आप देख सकते हैं चिकन डिनर।
उन 4 खिलाड़ियों में सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट कौन था नॉक ऑफ करने के लिए?
आई गेस कोई भी हो सकता था जो पहला नॉक निकालना था, उसके बाद गेम हमारी तरफ था और हमने वही करा।
भाई सबसे ज़्यादा चिकन डिनर तुम्हारे ही नाम है। अब हमने सीज़न 3 में देख लिया है कि वो जो 4 स्पॉट्स हैं अहम हो जाते हैं, क्योंकि आप फाइनल के लिए डायरेक्टली क्वालिफाई कर जाते हैं। अब क्या ऐसा लग रहा है कि वो टॉप 4 स्पॉट जो है वो ज़्यादा दूर नहीं है?
ज़्यादा दूर तो नहीं है, लेकिन मैं अभी कुछ ऐसे ही नहीं बोलूँगा, हवाबाजी में ट्राई कर रहे हैं, कोशिश कर रहे हैं, और आई होप आ जाएंगे लास्ट तक टॉप 4 में।
मुझे ना शर्म आ रही है, पता है क्यों? क्यों? भाई हमारा आईजी लोग सब कुछ कर रहा है, प्रोन होकर आगे जा रहा है, ओपनिंग दे रहा है टीम के लिए, और हम कुछ कर ही नहीं रहे।
कितने रिस्पेक्टफुल है मेरे टीममेट्स, यही इनका जो व्यवहार है मुझे काफ़ी अच्छा लगता है, और इन्हीं की वजह से मैं ज़्यादा अच्छा प्रदर्शन कर पाता हूँ टीम।
ये तो मस्ती मजाक हो गई। एंड इसने भी जो बात बोली ना, बिकॉज हमने देखा था कि वो प्रोन हो गया था, वो और ओमेगा, ऐसा लग रहा था कि इन दोनों में से जो भी गिरेगा टीम गिर जाएगी। अपने आईजीएल के लिए तुम क्या कहना चाहते हो? बिकॉज वो कहते हैं ना कि लीड फ्रॉम द फ्रंट, तो आईजीएल जो है वो खुद पे लगा लेता है दाव कि सारा प्रेशर मैं लूँगा, सारा मैं रिस्क लूँगा, बनी तो बनी वरना
नहीं। देखो अभी ऐसा है कि सेंसी बहुत ट्रस्ट है, बिकॉज हम देख रहे हो उतना ग्राइंड कर रहा है दिन भर। लाइक हम खेलते 1v1, वो हमको हमेशा मार देता है। लाइक लगता नहीं कि आईजीएल है, वो लगता है टीम का सॉल्टर ही है वो भी। वो सो बहुत प्यारा खेल रहा है, बहुत मेहनत कर रहा है, पूरी टीम मेहनत कर रही है, और आपस में गेम का भारी बॉन्ड बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग है हमारा, तो वो बहुत हेल्प कर रहा है हमको।
जो हमारा चिकन आया ना, वो एक सेंसे के नॉक की वजह से ही आया, जो उसने फर्स्ट ओपनिंग नॉक दिया बहुत क्रूशल था, और सेंसे ने निकाल दिया वो, तो उसी वजह से हमारा चिकन आया।
भाई ये वसीयत में तेरा नाम लिख देंगे जितना प्यार दिखा रहे हैं। अच्छा, एक आखिरी सवाल। हमने देखा है बाकी स्पोर्ट्स में भी हमारी टीम जो है वो हमेशा फाइनल में पहुंच के चोक कर जाती थी, लेकिन इस बार जीत गई है T20 वर्ल्ड कप। सेंसे ये जो है वो तेरे लिए भी कहा जा सकता है कि सेंसे का परफॉर्मेंस अंटिल द फाइनल्स बहुत कमाल रहता है, लेकिन फाइनल में आके पता नहीं क्या हो जाता है। इज दैट स्टोरी गोइंग टू चेंज?
नो, डेफिनेटली इट विल चेंज फॉर श्योर, बिकॉज नई टीम है मेरे पास, और नए बंदे हैं, नए चीते हैं मेरे पे, और मुझे लगता है इनके साथ शिकार करूँगा मैं, शिकार बनूंगा नहीं।
शिकार करूंगा, शिकार खुद नहीं बन जाऊंगा। ऑलराइट सेंसे, रेवेनेंट पिकिंग अप अ 4th चिकन डिनर। एक छोटा सा ब्रेक, वापस लौटेंगे और बातों के लिए।
सवाल मेरे से किया नहीं, जवाब मेरा बस होगा एक, ट्रॉफी बी रेवेनेंट।
Red Bull gives you wings.
Wow. Circle to search. Only on Android.
Another day, another road, and we go. Arrive with a win, moving up, we know where to begin. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Arrive we go. Wicked on the wheels, get wicked on the wheels. Another day, another road, and we go. Share it, share it, share it, share it, share it, share it, share it.
What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen? Philips One Blade. Move fearlessly. Innovation and you. Philips. Red Bull gives you wings.
Time to test the waters. Tell me how you wanna lead. Now you hear me roll like raw in my beastly mode. Now, wicked unleashed. That's wicked. All the cuts and the curves. So wicked. Take what you deserve. It's wicked.
TVS Raider. Unleash your wicked.
Everywhere I go, dirt and pollution dull my skin.
Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash with charcoal and vitamin C deeply cleanses dirt and pollution for instantly bright skin. Try the #1 men's face wash in India. Garnier Men Turbo Bright Double Action Face Wash by Garnier Men.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Chicken dinner claimed by Revenant, understandable, fine, but still that game was overshadowed by Global Esports. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's like one of those similar things back when Neo did that 1v4 against Team Z. It outshined every other thing. Similarly, Global Esports outshined everyone else.
I guess the players really had their game face on with the Garnier Men's face wash, because a while ago I saw them in the washroom. They were taking that face wash, right? So yeah, I guess because of that, a little bit of a buff was given to them in the Battlegrounds, and that's why now they were performing so nicely. But as we know, probably the MVP is going to be someone from Global Esports. It's not going to be something else. It will be Slug this time with 5 finishes and 36% finish contribution. I mean, for Global Esports, they've got 2 players performing nicely today, Beast and Slug.
They have been immaculate in not just one game, in both of these games. And looking at the stars of the match this time around, Secret's going to get the best companion for Vashishta Esports, had 2 rescues, and Flock's going to become that finisher. Because of that one knock of Sensei, Revenant had that advantage. But again, it was Global Esports who should be on top. No, never mind. It's Revenant with the chicken dinner.
Yeah, 1 single point more squeezed away from Revenant. That's why they're currently at the top with 23 points. But Global Esports, look at the finishes. 14 finishes, and look at the placement, just 4. I mean, this is insane. And then you try and add on the finish points, considering a few of those finishes were also taken in the power play. They have 18 finish points in total. Now, that's immaculate. Latter half of the board, Aiku Soul with just 2 points. Once again, for Aiku Soul, they're not able to do anything. Neither good, neither bad. They're just stuck somewhere around that bottom area.
Yeah, it just seems like now at this point, they will be focusing down on the playoffs itself, right? Because from tomorrow, we're going to have those impact players too. So you already know teams are going to just change their gears like anything else. But with the way how things kicked off, I really felt that this might be a big game for Vashishta Esports, specifically how they finished off 1 blade.
Yeah, I mean, they at least got the 8 points, right? So they're constantly there, closer to that top 4.
Yes.
And if in the final few ends of the entire week, they do manage to squeeze themselves barely in that top 4, that's all that matters. And I think so that's probably the game plan for Vashishta Esports too, to at least be somewhere closer to either being in that top 8 or closer to that at least top 5.
Possibly, because again, they would want to be into that top 7 position at least, so that they can breach in with just 1 game.
Yep.
And that's what most of the teams would look forward to. But again, another team that in this game slipped up was definitely Team Tamilas, but I wouldn't take anything away from them because it was Global Esports they were facing.
Now, we also had a conversation about Godlike and how they still do stand a chance to breach inside of that top four, but unfortunately, Godlike's game was ruined by Global Esports. So now for Godlike, the chances are even lower now. Tomorrow's day has to be the main crucial point, and if they do not do a lot tomorrow, well, then it's done for, right? Pretty much we know Godlike, they're not going to be making it to the grand finals directly. They will have to go through the longer route, through the playoffs itself. But you really need to give it to Vixkey from Vasista Esports. The man was staying alive till the final few moments, the only lonesome survivor for that team.
Yes, true. And if I'm not wrong, he did came out third, maybe fourth in those situations, and to make sure that his team would get that important position points too, because once you have got that 8 finishes, a good buffer early on in the power play, all you need is just 4 or 5 points more from the positions to basically grab that over 10-point game.
I mean, in general, today's day was filled with a lot of action, right? Started things off with a bang, ended things off with Global Esports just banging out the entire lobby. I mean, in general, in the Move Fearlessly moments of the day, we'll be able to sort of relive all the moments that we witnessed.
True.
Soul, a lot of expectations were there from the fans, but unfortunately, Salma being in the playing four sort of is also a bit of a struggle for the boys. I want to see them bring back Joker. What do you think? Go back to the OG play days.
I think so. They did try that on one of the previous few days, and they did get a chicken dinner on that one when Manya was giving the interview to Serene. So I do remember they did try that. It worked out for them, but it feels that they're still happy to try and go in for a few more experimentations, making sure that Soma is feeling comfortable in the lineup itself, getting the coordination in perfectly. But yeah, this was again the first game of today where Global Esports, they came in second, almost tried to pull it off against the side of Mogo. They were in the disadvantage in the terms of numbers, but in terms of the finishes, in terms of points, Global Esports had an amazing run.
I mean, Global Esports probably had the best day today.
Yes.
And they also have secured so many points to the point where all the other teams now, they know Global Esports, they will be on the first spot in the overall standings. Next to impossible to snatch that spot away from them. So now it's time to go for the second, third, and fourth spot, because the first spot is pinned down by Global. It's next to impossible to take it away from them.
You want me to say something controversial but fun?
Sure, why not? It's you're saying it.
So the amount of points Global Esports grabbed in 2 games is still 2 points less than the total number of points that Reckoning was able to grab in that one Impact player game.
Makes sense, right? Still, you had that extra bit of power
Yes.
up. So that's why Reckoning Esports was able to claim more points. But imagine if they were able to do this when the Impact player system was still going on. Then it would have been the biggest performance we would have ever witnessed so far in one single game. But yeah, the final fight between Team Forever and Revenant Esports, it was also quite a nice one. With Revenant Esports, it all came down to that Sensei's big play. Sensei was able to find the opener. Then later on, the rest of the players made that drive-by come through. They got the advantage in the man number, and that's how they closed things off.
Yeah, they wanted that advantage, as you mentioned, and Sensei is just leading with example to his entire team. And I just love the fact how they're all together, they're all playing super fun. But there's one player who played outstanding today.
Has to be someone from Global Esports, right? Because they have been incredible throughout this entire day. Has to be either Slug or Beast. Maybe who do you think it's going to be?
I really think it's going to be Beast because he had 6 finishes in the first one, 4 in the second one. But all right, I guess it's you who's basically won this one, as it's Slug with 10 finishes himself.
I guess maybe it's a tie too. I guess Beast and Slug maybe had the same amount of elimination points, but it just came down to that survival time.
True.
Because that's what I heard from the production. That's what they told me. It was a big tie between Slug and Beast, but Slug just had a bit more survival time compared to Beast, and that's why he's going to be the standout player of the day. I mean, we will definitely have a short interview with Slug himself, so let's move on right now and see what he's got to say.
For a guy who's just 18 years old, इतना aggression भाई कहाँ से लेके आता है? We don't know. हमारे साथ Global Esports के Slug, he's the standout player of the day. अब पास आजा, दिखा दिया हमने वो. मेरे भाई अब तक ना लीडर बोर्ड पे ऐसा लग रहा था कि Reckoning जो है वो नंबर 1 पे है and they're only getting better. तुम हमेशा सेकंड या थर्ड पे थे, लेकिन अब तुम उन्हें ओवरटेक कर चुके हो. Now the big question is 3 दिन बचे हैं. उसके बाद डिसाइड हो जाएगा कौन सी 4 टीमें जो हैं वो फाइनल में जा रही हैं. तुम्हारा ऑलमोस्ट टिकट जो है वो कंफर्म हो चुका है. तो इन 3 दिनों में हम किस तरीके का गेम देखने वाले हैं तुम्हारी से? पैसिव या तुम और ज्यादा अग्रेसिव होने वाले हो?
तो जैसे कि अभी लग रहा है हमको भी कि क्वालिफाई हो जाएंगे। पहले तो वही है कि एक बार जितना कट ऑफ है उतना हम गेम जितना पॉइंट्स कर लें, और उसके बाद जो टीम्स है जिनको लगता है कि अभी थोड़ा और खेलना चाहिए, टॉप 4 में अभी नहीं आना चाहिए, तो उनको बाहर करने का पूरा ट्राई करेंगे, क्योंकि हम नहीं चाहते फाइनल्स में हमें कोई भी ऐसा कंपटीशन मिले जो हमें ही आगे जाके दिक्कत दे।
आज जब हमने शुरुआत की थी तो फिक्सेस मेरे साथ स्टेज पे था, हमने इसके बारे में बात की थी दैट जो टीम्स शायद सेकंड या थर्ड से लेके टीम नंबर 6 तक हैं उनके बीच में सिर्फ 15 पॉइंट्स का फासला है। सो इट कुड बी एनीबडी, लेकिन कुछ टीम्स हैं जिनके लिए तुम रडार पे हो, ठीक है, बाउंटी वाली टीम तुम काफ़ी हद से रहे हो। सो उन टीम्स को तुम क्या कहना चाहते हो, बिकॉज दे गोइंग टू कम हार्ड एट यू।
हाँ, मतलब जब हम पे फर्स्ट टाइम बाउंटी लगी थी तो काफ़ी टीम्स ने ऐसा सोचा था कि वो लोग आके हमें मार देंगे। जैसे TX आई थी तो सबको पता ही है क्या हुआ था, एंड हम तो बोल ही रहे कि हम अगर हम पे बाउंटी है तो भाई जितनी टीम्स आनी है आ जाओ, हमारे ड्रॉप पे तो मार के दिखा दो।
ओके, ऑफिशियल में तुम लोग रनर्स अप थे, लेकिन उसके बाद जो भी छोटी मोटी गलतियाँ थी, जो खामियाँ थी, तुमने उसको अब पूरी तरीके से हटा दिया है। सो ये माने कि इस बार ये ट्रॉफी जो है उस पर ग्लोबल ई स्पोर्ट्स का नाम फिर से लिखा जाएगा।
हाँ, मतलब इस बार थोड़ा कॉन्फिडेंट है पिछली बार से। पिछली बार इतना कॉन्फिडेंट नहीं थे ऑफिशियल में, बट जो जो हमने गलतियाँ करी है वो हमने आके एक बार सब प्लेयर्स ने इंडिविजुअली वगैरह सब ने देखी है कि उन्होंने क्या गलती कहाँ करी थी, तो वो गलती अब हम बिल्कुल इस फाइनल्स में नहीं करेंगे। एंड आपको एकदम प्रॉपर गेम दिखेगा जी का, जो एकदम एग्रेसिव अप्रोच लेके खेलती है। मतलब खेलेंगे तो एग्रेसिव, वरना नहीं खेलेंगे।
फॉर 18-year-old गाय अगर ट्रॉफी जीत गए, पैसे बहुत मिलेंगे, शोहरत भी बहुत मिलेगी, क्या करोगे मेरे भाई? ये ऑडियंस पूछना चाहती है।
तो पैसे वगैरह तो देखते हैं, पार्टी शार्टी कर लेंगे भाई, क्या दिक्कत है। बाकी ऐसा नहीं है, फैमिली वगैरह को ऐसा कुछ गिफ्ट वगैरह करूँगा अगर जीतते वगैरह। एंड काफ़ी जो लोगों को एक्सपेक्टेशंस है, जैसे हमारे फैंस वगैरह हैं, तो उन सबको एक वो अंदर से लगता है भाई कि जिताना है, क्योंकि लास्ट टाइम भी रनर्स अप रहे एंड बहुत टाइम से वो एक प्रॉपर ट्रॉफी नहीं आ रही है। तो अब जी को भी लास्ट सीज़न जैसे पता ही है सीज़न 1 चैम्पियन थी जी, तो एक बार जी की भी एक वो लेगेसी है जो हमें वापस कंटिन्यू करनी है, ये सीज़न पूरा ट्राई हार्ड करके जीतना है।
भाई लेगेसी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। ओके, एक और सवाल, ओल्ड लॉबी और नई लॉबी में सबसे बड़ा अंतर क्या नज़र आता है?
तो यहाँ पे मतलब टीम्स है तो वैसा नहीं है कि सर्वाइवल वगैरह के लिए काफ़ी एग्रेशन दिखा रही है, तो मेरे हिसाब से वो ज़्यादा बढ़िया है कि पहले टीम्स वगैरह क्या सर्वाइवल वगैरह खेलती थी, अब टीम्स आ रही है एग्रेसिव अप्रोच लेके, तो काफ़ी अच्छा लग रहा है। फ़न भी है कि एकदम स्टार्टिंग में फाइट्स वगैरह, जैसे वो पावर प्ले इस बार दे रखा है, तो पहले नहीं दिखती थी इतनी फर्स्ट सेकंड जोन में फाइट्स, और अब तो भाई मज़ा ही आ जाता है वो सब देख के, एकदम स्टार्टिंग फाइट्स वगैरह लेने में।
भाई सिंगुलर है, स्टैंड आउट प्लेयर ऑफ द डे। प्लेयर्स होता तो शायद यहाँ पे बीस्ट भी होता, लेकिन तुम्हारा सर्वाइवल ज़्यादा था। अवार्ड फॉर बीस्ट, क्योंकि तुम दोनों, तुम्हारी ये जो टीम है अलॉन्ग विथ द एंटायर टीम, यू गाइज आर एब्सोल्युटली नेयरिंग इट।
हाँ, जैसे कि बताइए कि बीस्ट के भी 10 किल्स थे, बट थोड़ा सा मेरा सर्वाइवल ज़्यादा था क्योंकि भाई फुल एग्रेसिव खेलते हैं, तो ऐसा नहीं है। हम लोग कल, अब जैसे आपने पूछा था कि कल परसों क्या ट्राई रहेगा, तो कल परसों ऐसा हम ट्राई करेंगे कि तीनों बंदे यहीं खड़े हो स्टैंड आउट प्लेयर ऑफ द डे में। 3 बंदे चाहिए हमें जी के।
Well, a good-looking boy who's probably wearing the most good-looking jersey, Global Esports Standout Player of the Day, Slug. Boys, take it over.
Hands down, the jersey looks beautiful on that guy, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm also a big fan of that jersey. But you know what? Moving on with the conversation, as I mentioned, Beast as well should have been there, but unfortunately, a little bit more of that survival time, and that's why Beast wasn't there in that interview. And Global Esports, they mentioned this, right? I mean, Slug himself, he mentioned that if you can hunt us down, if you can claim the bounty, come on our drop location and show us what you're capable of.
And this has been just phenomenal approach from Global Esports. Confidence. It just seems it's not just that, it seems super wicked.
It does indeed seem super wicked, but not just that. This TVS Raider also comes in with a Smart Connect version with the 99 connected feature. And guess what? It apparently comes with a 5-inch TFT screen. As you mentioned, it indeed is really wicked, my friend.
Absolutely, and I just feel at this point there's just something in the jersey of Global Esports, because it does not matter what players come into their lineup, they always perform out of their mind, and now they are at 238 points with 167 finish points.
That's just insane if you think about it. More than Reckoning Esports at this point, because Reckoning Esports, they're also considered one of the most aggressive teams that the lobby's ever seen. But now Reckoning Esports, they've got a confidence, or they've also got that competition against Global Esports. And this will be that motivating factor for Reckoning Esports to perform a bit more better. Because knowing the fact that Reckoning Esports, they also possess so much firepower, for Global Esports, they can also look forward for Reckoning Esports to catch up against them.
Absolutely. It's going to be a fun rivalry now being pulled in.
Oh my God!
Beast is 42. The most wicked player right now is leading by 3 finishes from AKOP, and look who's following him up.
Ninja Boy's right there. Hunter's not that far away from Reckoning, and even Slug is there in the most wicked player list. At this point, I want to just see Arsalan too. I mean, all the 4 players from Global Esports in this most wicked player list, but Global Esports, they thrive in chaos. And as Slug himself mentioned, that we are loving this power play system because I'm loving the aggression off the rip from the teams.
True, and that's what they thrive in. That's the chaos that they want to live in, and it was indeed an amazing day for the side of Global Esports. Some new teams did shine, like Team Forever as well. We did see some signs of life, and I'm interested to see what's going to happen once Impact player comes in.
Oh man, the Impact player's not that far behind. Tomorrow itself, the Impact player rule once again comes back into fruition, where things will be even more spicy. But I'm pretty sure this time we might just see different faces when it comes to the Impact player.
Absolutely. I really want to see how teams are going to perform, because all of them know the importance of the first and the second circle now, as that's going to be where we're going to see most of these teams fight. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today. We had an amazing day, but tomorrow is going to be even better, so join us tomorrow.